My daily life in a TV series. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 151. The Old Father's Smile. 1 month later, Central Park Cafe. Adam, what are you busy with recently? Why do I feel like I rarely see you? Monica asked with concern. I'm rushing to finish my manuscript. Adam smiled bitterly. The sponsors are not satisfied with the progress. There is nothing I can do. This will be the norm for the next 2 years, not just this month. 2 years? Monica exclaimed. So long? Time is relative. 2 years will pass quickly if you are busy. Adam smiled. In fact, it's just a matter of 4 words. Recently, the sponsors have urged for the manuscript, and even wanted to come to ask for advice. Adam's pressure has increased greatly, and he decided to speed up the progress and reduce the time he spends slacking off and chatting with Monica and the others. Monica and the others were slow to react. After all, they were just friends and had their own things to do. The reason why they seemed to be together every day was because they concentrated all the time they spent together in the year. In reality, getting together every now and then is the norm. Heather felt the most deeply. She discovered the struggling Adam on the first night, and she couldn't sleep when she saw Adam typing. First, she was not used to it, and second, she suddenly felt no sleepiness when she heard the fast-paced typing sound. Fortunately, Adam hid away. If you are not sleepy, he will make you sleepy, and you will fall asleep when you are very tired, so there is nothing to be used to. Jushiran said, there is no road in the world, but it becomes a road when you walk more. Adam deeply agrees. Being busy, Adam's lazy nature was suppressed. Thinking that being lazy all the time is not a solution, he decided to work hard to compress the 4-year undergraduate study into 3 years. Saving a year is a year. Therefore, the next 2 years will be very busy. So, what's the news recently? Adam naturally couldn't say something like your charm is limited, and the sponsors don't buy it. So he quickly changed the subject. Although the next 2 years will be very busy and will pass quickly, it doesn't mean that there will be no contact. Adam's feelings for everyone are no longer floating in the air. Chatting and farting with everyone has become a part of his life, and of course he can't give it up. And there is also the relationship with Leonard that needs to be maintained and improved through Rachel. Therefore, we just reduce the frequency of long gatherings, from several times a week to once a week or once every 2 weeks. We usually come over for breakfast or chat for a few minutes in a cafe, and this will not change. Feelings are developed through time. A distant relative is not as good as a close neighbor. It is not without reason that the characters in American TV series regard friends as more important than many relatives or even family members, because they are the ones who spend every day together. It's nothing. Chandler just resigned. Monica thought for a while and smiled. What? Adam was surprised and asked, Chandler resigned? Then he looked at Chandler and said, why? Because I don't like it. Chandler shrugged and said, since I heard you say that the 3rd edition of Lord of Mysteries is going to be released with 500,000 copies, and it will make a huge profit of 2.5 million, I found that you all have clear career plans, but I am the only one doing a job I don't like, and I have been doing it for 5 years. This should be a temporary job, but now it seems more and more like a real job. You don't like data processing? Adam said speechlessly. Then why did you study this in college? I don't know. Chandler spread his hands and hesitated. Because the salary is high? Then what kind of job do you like? Adam asked. It was quite heavy for an old father to see his son give up a high-paying job just for a sentence like the world is so big. I want to see it. I don't know either, Chandler said self-deprecatingly. But what I do know is that when my boss told me that he was going to promote me to supervisor, I couldn't stand it anymore. So I just quit. Adam rolled his eyes and said angrily, if you can't stand the promotion, wouldn't it be nice to get a raise? Even if you don't like this job, you can always find another one. It would be too willful to just quit. I know. Chandler was obviously a little confused. After he quit, he went to a job consultant to find out what kind of job he was suitable for. Guess what he got? Monica said with a suppressed laugh. It must be data processing. Adam hit the nail on the head. This is what you studied in college. After graduation, you worked for another 5 years. You are qualified to be a supervisor. What you do and see are all related things. If you are not suitable for this, what should you be suitable for? Then what should I do? Chandler said frustratedly. You can't just go back like this. That will make people laugh to death. Of course you can't go back like this, unless your boss begs you to go back. Adam pondered and said, and since it has come to this, you might as well think about what you really want to do. Choose something you like and stick to it. Any industry starts with newcomers and needs enough time to grow. Everyone is as willful as you were before. You can't want to change your career and start from scratch when you are middle-aged. Even if you can bear to compete with young people who are a generation younger than you on the same starting line, you will probably not be able to beat them. They are young and have no burdens. When you are middle-aged, you need a stable high income to support your family. At that time, you will have even less choice. Do you think the midlife crisis is a joke? You actually think I will have a family? Chandler often taunted, I think I might be lonely for the rest of my life. His parents cast a huge shadow on him, which made him extremely afraid of love and marriage. Of course there will be. Adam thought of Nora. His face became softer, and he said in a gentle voice, and you will be very happy. Think about it. Once you have such a happy family, you have to start from scratch because you said you don't like the job you have accumulated for more than 10 years and have already climbed to a high position. What a big blow it will be to the family. Chandler was silent for a moment, and whispered, do you really think I will have a happy family? Of course, I'm sure. Adam said seriously, and it will be happier than most people, because you know the adverse effects of a broken family on children. I believe you will be a good husband and a good father, and your family will be extra happy because of you. Thank you. Chandler listened to Adam's description, and the cynical expression on his face disappeared, and he unconsciously showed a sincere and yearning smile. We are friends and family. Adam patted Chandler on the shoulder and smiled like an old father. Think carefully about what kind of job you like, try more, choose the one you like best, and take your time. Of course, I know you don't have much savings, but with me here, you don't have to worry about money. Now the most important thing for you is to find the right direction. I believe you can find a job that you like and are good at. Oh, Monica, who was watching from the side, was moved and relieved. These are the friends she has been thinking about. It's great. Chapter 152 Medical College Admission Examination. Time flies. Years pass by like a shuttle. 2 years have passed in the blink of an eye. It was April 1995. Adam walked into the examination room. Today, he would take the MCAT here. MCAT is the abbreviation of the U.S. Medical College Admission Test. In the past 2 years, Adam worked very hard and completed the undergraduate credits of biology and psychology in one fell swoop. He is expected to get a double bachelor's degree in biology and psychology in May. Because he is in a hurry to enter medical school this fall, he has to take the MCAT now, and then submit an application to the U.S. Medical School Application Agency immediately after obtaining his bachelor's degree. Everything must be done before June, otherwise it will be delayed until next year. Fortunately, Adam has money and Leonard's connections, so although the time is a bit tight, it is not a big problem. The MACT exam is designed to test natural, behavioral and social science concepts, prerequisites for medical research, and knowledge of problem-solving and critical thinking. It is divided into 4 parts. 1. Biological and biochemical basis of life systems. 2. Chemical and physical basis of biological systems. 3. Psychological, social and biological basis of behavior. 4. Critical analysis and reasoning skills. Looking at the content of the exam, it is completely understandable why Adam chose to apply for Columbia University's Department of Biology. Because biology is really a science close to medicine. If you don't have a medical degree in undergraduate studies, studying biology will definitely save you a lot of time studying pre-medical courses after undergraduate studies to pass the MCAT. Adam's psychology studies were not in vain. Not only did he increase his ability to warn of danger, but he also saved himself the process of learning behavioral psychology, critical analysis and reasoning skills separately. As for the social, chemical and physical foundations, They were also a piece of cake for Adam. After all, they are just basics, and you don't have to do in-depth research like studying string theory. MCAT is the same as SAT. There are many exams every year. You only need to pass once. However, unlike SAT, which allows you to select the best score for application, medical schools will look at all your scores. Therefore, it is best to pass with a high score at one time. Otherwise, even if you do well in the later exams, medical schools may still reject you based on your previous exam scores. The application and admission ratio of medical schools is always below 3%, and Harvard Medical School is less than 1%. After excluding high-quality talents, the number of places left for you is pitifully small. You should thank God if you have 0.5%. In this case, the threshold is naturally very high, and the best are selected from the best. Those who have the slightest flaw in their application materials will definitely be eliminated. Entering the examination room, Adam looked around and saw that the age of the candidates was not young. There were very few candidates who came to take the exam in their junior year like Adam. The entire exam lasted for 7.5 hours, and the answering time was 6 hours and 15 minutes. There would be a 1 hour and 15-minute intermission, but for most candidates, it was still an extremely difficult test. Adam had amazing endurance, and this level of exam was not even a piece of cake. In addition, he was well prepared and in great shape. After the exam, he walked out of the examination room with a relaxed look on his face. Without the excitement of doing a split, he drove back to the apartment. Surprise! As soon as he entered the door, he saw many heads popping up and shouting at him. "Wow!" Adam shouted exaggeratedly. I am so surprised." Monica and the others were very pleased with Adam's performance. They knew that Adam's exam today was very important, so they specially prepared a surprise party for him. Heather came up and gave Adam a warm hug. "Thanks for notifying me in advance." Adam whispered and laughed in Heather's ear. "Haha." Heather joked, "If I don't tell you in advance, what if you accidentally fire the gun?" In the past 2 years, she has maintained a close relationship with Adam, and they have been sparring almost every night. Whenever Adam, Juno, and Karen make an appointment to go hunting in the cabin in the woods on holidays, she will go with them every time. Therefore, she is very familiar with Adam's steady style, and even she has been influenced by Adam and Juno and acts unusually steadily. For example, this surprise party was secretly planned by Monica without telling Adam, but of course Heather had to be involved, otherwise they couldn't even enter Adam's apartment. If it were an ordinary person, they would definitely keep it a secret, but Heather understood that Adam didn't like surprises, and if he didn't notify him in advance, the surprise might turn into a shock, and even cause very serious consequences. Adam's apartment has a lot of guns and ammunition hidden. If Monica and others had a party without making arrangements in advance, it would be a big problem. This is why Monica and the others gave each other spare keys, but Adam never gave him the key to his apartment. "Adam, how did you do on the exam?" Chandler asked with concern. "Very good," Adam said confidently. "Yeah." Everyone cheered again. Then, everyone dispersed and found someone to chat with. This is how American parties are. Although there is a protagonist and a theme, after the protagonist appears and the theme is announced, everyone will naturally chat about their own things. Because Americans are free, everyone is the protagonist. However, Monica and other small groups still surrounded Adam. "I'll call Juno." Adam kissed Heather and asked Heather to entertain them first, and then went back to the bedroom to call Juno. As Juno has the same ambition as Adam and has always kept pace with him, she will naturally not miss today's exam. In fact, since Adam decided to shorten his undergraduate time 2 years ago, Juno has done the same thing. How was it? What do you think? Well, congratulations. Congratulations. Juno and Adam are equally confident. There are many geniuses who study medicine, but the proportion is definitely much lower than those who study mathematics and physics. It can even be said that they are not on the same level at all, because anyone with a normal IQ can study medicine, and through hard work, not only can they become doctors, but they can even become top doctors. However, there is no absolute IQ in mathematics and physics. At most, You can be a science teacher in high school. It is very difficult to get a doctorate in related subjects, and if you want to become a top expert professor, you can only go to bed. With Adam and Juno's genius IQ, they are not the best among medical students, but they are also among the best. Not to mention that they have prepared for this for 3 years in advance, and a mere medical school entrance examination is not a problem at all. After graduating in May, pass the application before June and get an offer from the medical school. During the summer vacation, I will take Karen and you will take Heather. Let's go out and celebrate. How about it? Juno suggested. Okay. Adam smiled and said, where do you want to go? How about going to the East Country? Juno said excitedly. It's full of mystery and it's very attractive. Why don't we talk about it again? We still need to hear Karen and Heather's opinions at that time. Adam smiled bitterly. Okay. Juno had no objection. The two chatted for a few more sentences and hung up the phone. After all, today was the party prepared by Monica and the others for him. It would be unreasonable to keep calling and not showing up. P.S. Thanks to book friends 20200116165248561 and can I feel along for their rewards. This book is daily. I wanted to write it carefully every year, but everyone didn't seem to be very interested in Friends, so the author could only speed up the progress, skip 2 years, and go directly into the medical school era. The author needs to adjust the rhythm. There are only 3 chapters today. Chapter 153. Time passes like water. Duncan apartment. Adam, you really want to be a doctor? Rachel's eyes were a little dazed. She was a doctor, Dad, and she often couldn't control the wild power in her body. In the past, Adam just had an intention, and she used super, ultimate, and ultimate ways to seduce him, but unfortunately they all failed one by one. Finally, she gave up the idea with the comfort of her father. Now, seeing that Adam is really going to enter Columbia University Medical School, completely copying the path her father had taken, and it is foreseeable that he will be more successful and glorious than her father, the wild power in her body can't help but boil again. Ahem. Next to her, Ross coughed and laughed awkwardly and reminded, hello? Your boyfriend is also a doctor. Yes. Yes. Rachel waved her hand perfunctorily. Ross immediately rolled his eyes. That's right. The two still walked on the original time and space. When Rachel saw Ross's infatuation with her in the high school graduation video, she was moved and took the initiative. Ross naturally obeyed. After all, this was Rachel, his goddess in school days. And a goddess he had not yet succeeded. So, the two fell in love. I've worked so hard for this. Adam smiled. There are 4 steps to apply for admission to medical school. The first step is MCAT. That is the medical school entrance examination that Adam completed today. Even if the results are not out, Adam is fully confident that he can pass it with high scores. The second step is the main application. That is to submit a main application to AMCAS, the U.S. Medical School Application Service Agency, which is equivalent to establishing your medical student file. The application materials include college transcripts, MCAT scores, extracurricular activity records, and personal statements. Extracurricular activity records are whether you have been to Africa as a volunteer, whether you have volunteered in a hospital for 5,000 hours, etc. Because it is a two-way choice, you can apply to many schools. The third step is supplementary documents and auxiliary materials. After the main application is completed, the medical school you applied to will review your file. They will directly reject you or ask you to supplement the information they need. If you are not eliminated in terms of college grades, MCAT scores, extracurricular activity records and personal statements, but there are still too many applicants for top medical schools, then you must further screen. So the supplementary documents are the basis for further screening according to their own needs, such as your family situation, what you can add to the school's culture, etc. The fourth step is the interview. At this step, as long as there are no major problems, such as being unable to communicate freely or angering the interviewer, it is basically a success. With the help of Leonard, a former outstanding graduate of Columbia University Medical School and now a senior attending physician in cardiothoracic surgery at New York University Medical Center, the next 3 steps are a piece of cake. Adam said, It feels so good to use the back door. Chandler, how are you doing recently? Adam asked with concern. Not bad. Chandler laughed at himself. No matter how bad it is, it can't be worse than before, right? His parents were dragged out and ridiculed on a daily basis, and everyone was used to it. Chandler is going to be promoted in the advertising company. Monica smiled and said, his boss admires him very much. That's inevitable. Adam smiled and said, Chandler is so humorous that a joke he makes every day can be included in the magazine's funny jokes. He is very talented in this area, and advertising is no exception. 2 years ago, Chandler was promoted to a supervisor, but he didn't like the job, so he resigned on impulse, and then he was confused and didn't know what to do. In the past, he would have been invited back by their boss again and again, because he was indeed talented and experienced in data processing, and Chandler naturally refused at first, but every time he refused, his boss would significantly increase his salary, and even provided a separate large office and assistant. In this regard, Chandler had no choice but to run back. The large office and the female assistant were very fresh and interesting at the beginning, but it was not without cost. Chandler needed to work harder, and after becoming a supervisor, he had to give orders to his former colleagues who used to slack off, forcing them to work overtime to complete the target tasks. Then, he was isolated by his former colleagues, and was mocked and ridiculed by them behind his back. Chandler was not happy, so he quit after working for more than 10 years and then started from scratch, participating in the unpaid advertising planning training program for new employees. At one point, he was so financially tight that he had to borrow money from Joey. You know, he had always been the one to support Joey. Now, with Adam's encouragement and funding, Chandler had the courage to think about what he wanted to do. After struggling for a long time, he chose the advertising industry under Adam's reminder. Adam didn't remember Chandler's last choice in the original time and space at that time. The reason he thought so was because Chandler was Nora's son and had a talent for writing. The advertising industry is simply about words and jokes. Chandler is talented and interested, so he naturally works very smoothly and happily. After more than a year of development, Chandler has become a qualified advertising planner, actively coming up with ideas for many important advertisements in the company, and is deeply loved by his boss. Promotion and salary increase are just around the corner. Hey, that's my joke, Ross shouted in dissatisfaction. The magazine included my joke, not Chandler's. Come on, Adam complained. We all know that Chandler is the funniest among us, so we all know what the so-called joke dispute is about. Before, Ross sent a funny joke that Chandler said casually to the magazine, and it was published, and he also received a $20 manuscript fee. Although the money is small, it means a different thing. Ross was shocked and took the magazine to tell everyone that his joke was in the magazine. Chandler argued, but Ross was determined to show off. In the end, he took a notebook and wrote down all the jokes he said every day and marked the date and time to prevent Ross from stealing his jokes again. You don't know. Ross was angry, pointing at Adam with both hands. You were not there. What makes you say that the joke was from Chandler? Just because Chandler is the funniest among us, can't I suddenly think of a joke? I am also humorous sometimes. Don't get excited, Monica comforted. It's just a joke. Why do you have to argue so many times? Adam shrugged and said no more. Although Ross is also a friend, between him and Chandler, Adam will naturally always stand on Chandler's side, because he admires Chandler the most among the 6 people in the previous life, and he is also Nora's son. Chapter 154. The competition has begun. After the party, Heather celebrated with Adam alone. Adam said that he finally understood why Americans like parties. He liked it too. Please give him a dozen of such party celebrations. The next day, Adam received a notice from Leonard. There will be a heavyweight evening party in the New York medical community in a few days, and he will attend as Leonard's companion. Adam understood this. Now that it is time to apply for and be admitted to medical school, some necessary interpersonal communication will naturally begin. As a grand event in the New York medical community, a group of professors from Columbia Medical School will naturally not be absent. Some of them control the last 3 steps of admission, and after really enrolling in Columbia Medical School, Adam still needs to deal with them, so it is very necessary to establish a good relationship with them. Heather was very happy for Adam when she heard the news, and directly took Adam shopping to prepare for him to attend the evening party. Manhattan, Park Avenue, Madison Avenue is on the west side, and Lexington Avenue is on the east side. There are tall buildings on both sides, with the most expensive real estate in the world. Rich businessmen and celebrities such as John D. Rockefeller live here. It is a typical wealthy area. Building 67, inside a luxurious duplex apartment. Stephen, come with me to a party on Friday night. A stern-looking middle-aged man, served by the wife of the noble lady, said to the young man sitting on the sofa reading a book while wearing a suit. Do I have to go? Young Stephen put down the book and frowned slightly. Listen to your father. The noble lady reminded him quickly. This party is a grand event in the New York medical community. At that time, heavyweight figures in the New York medical community will be present. I know you don't want to work in your father's pharmaceutical company in the future, but being a surgeon also requires socializing. Otherwise, how can you communicate with patients at that time? Young Stephen was silent for a moment, nodded and said, I know. Help him get ready. The stern middle-aged man looked at the noble lady and ordered, I will. The lady quickly agreed, handed the briefcase to her husband, walked quickly to the door, opened it for her husband, and after seeing her husband off, she turned around and walked to her son and sat down. Stephen, it's not easy to do anything. Although your father is usually very serious at home, when he was a medical representative, his face was so full of laughter every day. Even after so many years of hard work, he has his own pharmaceutical company and is successful, but for the development of the company, whether he wants to laugh or not, he still has to laugh when he should laugh. Seeing that her son was listening carefully, the lady smiled and said, This is also why your father didn't force you to help the pharmaceutical company. As long as a surgeon has top-notch technology, you can laugh when you want to laugh and be serious when you want to be serious. It's much better than your father's situation back then. Since you like it, you must know how to cherish it. Young Stephen raised his glasses and said seriously, I will become the most outstanding surgeon, and there will definitely be surgical procedures named after me in the future. My son is great, the lady said happily. Don't worry about the party on Friday, they are almost all your father's friends. Mom, young Stephen interrupted, I don't need special care, I believe in myself. Okay, Mom won't say anything more. The noble lady smiled dotingly and said, My son is the best, he can achieve great success on his own, just like your father made a name for himself. Maybe your father will try to curry favor with you. Don't you want to see your father smile at you? He will definitely be smiling at that time, and it's not a professional smile. When the young man Stephen heard this, a smile appeared on his slightly dull face. People often say that a good father makes a good son. For those who have a successful father, they have to live under the shadow of their father, not to mention that they don't perform well. Even if they perform averagely, they will be included in the ranks of the good sons of a good father. People's expectations of him have been infinitely raised because of his father. This is a heavy pressure, especially for those who don't want to just muddle through and want to make a difference. Just like Go Furong, the female hero in the book Wulan Wei's Yuan, her biggest dream in the martial arts world is that one day, people will point at her father and say, this is the female hero Go's father. Instead of always pointing at her and saying, this is the daughter of Go Juxia. Of course, most people, including Go Furong, have not realized their dreams, because ideals are full, but reality is skinny. Manhattan, prison bar. Layers of spiral fences are crowded with people, and there are still a lot of people queuing outside wanting to come in, because this is a very famous bar in New York. You want a poet? A handsome guy dressed as a bartender stood on the bar, blew a whistle, attracted everyone's attention, and shouted loudly, yes, we want it. Countless people in the bar screamed. People who squeezed their heads here to drink expensive drinks are not just for this carnival atmosphere. I am the last bartender poet. The handsome bartender said nonsense. I watched the United States drinking the excellent cocktails I mixed, slowly getting drunk while shaking. The indescribable on the beach, peach gin, silk cloth hammer, Alabama Gate, The plain words without rhythm and rhyme beauty, in the passionate speech of the handsome man dancing and dancing, once again attracted a crowd of drinkers to call and scream, calling the handsome man a sexy beast. I use juice and foamy wine to make things, pink squirrels, 3 sloths, the drinks I mix are so sweet and charming, iced black tea, kamikashi. People are at their peak. As the handsome bartender said this, everyone seemed to be at their peak, screaming continuously, and some enthusiastic female customers couldn't help but reach out their evil hands to the handsome bartender. The bar was suddenly busy, and the expensive wine was sold like water. After the carnival, the handsome bartender followed a beautiful woman to her apartment. Just when he thought he had found true love, not long after, the beauty fell in love with the doctor, and then dumped him for the doctor, who was not handsome at all. He was depressed and confided in his uncle. "Why, you don't understand something so obvious. He is a doctor with a promising future and a high status, and you are just a lowly bartender who stays up late every day to make hard-earned money. If I were a woman, I would also choose the doctor and dump you." His uncle sneered at the naivety of the handsome bartender. "William, I suggested that you study medicine after graduation. That is the most reliable way to jump from the bottom to the middle class, but you just didn't listen. You thought about working as a part-time bartender to make money first, and then saving money to start your own business to make a lot of money. But business is not that easy to do. I have struggled for half my life for this small bar. Everyone says that I am stingy because I have never treated anyone to a drink. But without my desperate savings and hard work, I would never have my own bar in my life. Doctors are noble and have a future, while bartenders are lowly and have no future." The handsome bartender William could no longer hear what his uncle was saying. His mind was filled with the image of what he thought was his true love going hand in hand with the doctor. He muttered to himself and suddenly stood up. "I want to be a doctor. P.S. I'm having a writer's block, so I'll only write 2 chapters today. I'll try to resume writing 4 chapters as soon as possible. Sorry." Chapter 155 Cocktail Party. Friday afternoon, Adam drove to Long Island in advance and came to Green's house. Tonight's cocktails party was all thanks to Leonard's help. It was necessary for him to be the driver to pick him up. "Wow, Adam, you look so handsome today." Jill, the little daughter who opened the door, exclaimed repeatedly with shining eyes. "Clothes make the man, and gold makes the Buddha." Adam deliberately wore the favorite of the prodigal Barney in the story of looking for his mother, a high-end handmade custom suit, which cost $20,000. It was a complete robbery, but the effect was also great. The temperament was added by 20,000%. It's a pity that it was a handmade custom suit without a big-name price tag. Otherwise, he would learn from a genius trainee lawyer and leave the label marked with $20,000 on it without cutting it off. Anyone can see it. The sourness is simply indescribable after all. Without the price tag, how can others know that this is a $20,000 suit? And what is the difference between it and the street stall goods bought for $58? The second daughter Amy stood there with burning eyes. She had always been stealing things from her elder sister Rachel. Seeing Adam like this, she was naturally moved. This was a man that her elder sister Rachel had not gotten. Unfortunately, Adam was completely different from Rachel's previous boyfriends and fiancés. Faced with her hints and even explicit offers, he rejected them all. This made her doubt that Adam was not a man. Otherwise, how could a man bear to let her, a beautiful woman, take whatever she wanted without any responsibility? However, this idea was completely denied after using various means to investigate, and then she came to a frustrating answer. That is, her charm was not big enough. Fortunately, with the example of her elder sister Rachel, she was not so angry that she went crazy. And because of the fame and wealth brought by Adam's mysterious lord, which has become more and more popular in the past 2 years, and because he is about to become a doctor like her father, she admires him more and more. That's right, she is also a doctor. Dad control. It's just not as serious as her elder sister Rachel. She has a good habit, that is, she is not picky and wants everything. So she is a Dr. Dad gold control. As long as any one of the conditions is met, she can do it. In the original time and space, she was going to marry her ex-boyfriend's old and decayed father for a mansion, What made her happiest was that the old and decayed husband could only come to live a few times a year, and the rest of the time was hers. "Thank you." Adam smiled politely. "Hi, Jill. Hi, Amy. Why are you here so early?" Leonard heard the noise, came down from upstairs, raised his hand to check the time, and smiled. "It's okay anyway, so I came early." Adam smiled casually. After 3 years of the man has feelings and the concubine has intentions, Adam and Leonard's family have established a very close relationship. Of course, he insisted on the bottom line for the 3 daughters of Green, even if they hinted and explicitly wanted his body one by one, but Adam's willpower was very firm, and he refused every time with a firm attitude. At the beginning, some of the 3 sisters must have been unhappy, such as the youngest Jill and the most cunning second sister Amy, but seeing that Adam treated them equally and none of the 3 sisters touched them, they secretly admired him in their hearts. They naturally didn't know that Adam would go to Heather to put out the fire every time he returned. If the Green 3 daughters were just okay because of Adam's deliberate distance, then Leonard and Sandra, as elders, really regarded Adam as a close friend. Because Sandra was tired of the life of a housewife for more than 20 years, she was increasingly yearning for the taste of free love outside of Leonard, and the family conflicts were deepening. Sandra had no other friends to confide in this impulse, otherwise, she wouldn't always run to her daughter Rachel in the original time and space. She could have fun at Monica's boring party, and Joey's kiss made her happy. Adam's frequent interactions with the Green family, as well as Adam's good at listening, friend of women personality and appearance, made Sandra like him more. Every time Adam came, Sandra would pull Adam to chat, and most of the time Sandra was the one who confided, and Adam just listened, then comforted and enlightened, and tried his best to maintain the marriage relationship between the Green couple. His psychology studies came in handy again. People do things and God sees. Leonard was not stupid, he found out naturally, and then he was very moved. Because of Adam's intervention, Sandra's overly obvious restlessness was reduced a lot, and she also made many positive attempts to continue to maintain the marriage. So Leonard also began to talk to Adam. The couple simply regarded Adam as a psychologist for marriage problems. Adam was not proud, but was particularly cautious and steady, impartial, and the couple tried to make positive changes. However, their marital conflicts were a stubborn disease that had been formed bit by bit over the past few decades. They were both in their 50s. Even if they wanted to change, how much could they really change? In the end, they failed and the 2 divorced. But this time, Sandra did not vent her anger and insist on taking half of Leonard's sailboat just because she didn't like sailing and hated Leonard's love of sailing. The 2 broke up peacefully. In the process, they both established a very close friendship with Adam. This is also the reason why Leonard did not refuse to get close at the beginning, and actively planned the future for Adam. Not only this cocktail party. When Leonard learned that Adam, Juno, and Karen used hunting to practice surgical techniques in advance, he took the initiative to invite Adam to the cabin in the woods to show them what real surgery was like. On-site teaching by a senior attending physician is what many interns and even residents dream of, and Adam and Juno have enjoyed it before entering medical school. This is the most successful result of Adam's deliberate management. The only pity is that Leonard is also very busy, and this kind of on-site teaching only happened once. But it was enough. At that time, Adam and Juno would go to the cabin in the woods at least once a month, and they would stay there for a long time during the winter and summer vacations. They had performed hundreds of surgical practices with the animals they hunted. They were not as skilled as butchers, but they were also very skilled. What they lacked was formal guidance. Leonard's on-site teaching at that time really made Adam and Juno's skills sublimate. Then various animals in the forest suffered. The rabbit was so cute, but it was shot through with an arrow, and then it was given emergency surgery to see if it could be saved. If it was saved, long live it. If it couldn't be saved, chomp it up. Arrow wounds, fall wounds, gunshot wounds, external injuries, internal injuries, penetrating injuries. There is always an injury that suits you. Okay, then we'll go there early. Leonard smiled with understanding. There will be a lot of heavyweights tonight. If we go there early, I can introduce you to a few more people. Anyway, let's get to know them first. Dad, No one will forget Adam's face after seeing it. The little daughter Jill said innocently. Yes, yes. Leonard laughed. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 156 Introduction. At night, the Four Seasons Hotel in New York, the banquet hall, had already been set up as a high-class cocktail party. The uniformed and handsome waiters and waitresses walked through the crowd, providing the most attentive service to the guests. The guests in suits and dresses, holding champagne, gathered in twos and threes, chatting and laughing. Adam, let me introduce you. This is James Mudd, a professor at our Columbia University Medical School. Leonard took Adam to a black professor and introduced them to each other. James, this is Adam Duncan, my good friend, a best-selling author, and a future Columbia University Medical School student. Hello, Professor Mudd. Adam greeted politely. Hello, Mr. Duncan. James said with a smile, I'm curious about Leonard's bad temper. Even old guys like us can't stand it. How did you become good friends with him when you are so young? Damn it, Leonard said with a smile. I have a bad temper? Who was the one who wanted to fight with others at every turn? Who? James looked confused. Wasn't it you? It was me, Leonard threatened. Do you want to try again now? Okay. James shrugged and looked at Adam. Leonard and I were classmates in medical school, but later I chose to return to my alma mater to teach, while he stayed on the front line of the hospital. We were the two heroes of Columbia University Medical School back then. Come on, Leonard said contemptuously. I was barely a hero back then, and you? Haha. Adam smiled and watched the two bickering, feeling very good. It can be seen that Leonard and Professor James Mudd have a very good relationship. Yes, no matter in the East or the West, the relationship between classmates is special and one of the purest feelings. At that time, no one had made a fortune yet, and there was still a trace of idealism in their hearts. When they graduated and entered the society, they worked hard to make money and climb up. After seeing all kinds of struggles, they cherished the innocence at the beginning. Of course, medical school is special. The profession of doctor is full of competition from the beginning. This is a professional requirement, because you don't have the competitive spirit and self-confidence of being the first in the world. How can you control the life and death of patients in the future? Many times, a slight hesitation will cause the patient to die. The impact of life disappearing in your own hands cannot be dealt with without a strong enough psychological quality. Therefore, doctors, especially the top few, are all confident and conceited. They don't trust anyone but themselves. This is an innate character selected from entering medical school, coupled with the hard work of the day after tomorrow, and finally charged towards the highest realm of I am the best, and everyone here is garbage. Of course, in this process, the strength must also keep up, otherwise it will not be the best, but the stupidest. However, who is the most awesome and who is the dumbest is clear at a glance after a major operation. There is no self-deception or group deception at all. If you think you are the best, then you really have awesome skills. The strong competitiveness required for growth makes medical students different, but it does not mean that all classmates are strangers. Compared with the future and the entire country, there are so many doctors competing for important positions. Once they fail in the competition, most of them will choose to leave and start over in a new place. The cruelty of either this or that. The competition between medical school classmates can be regarded as warm and affectionate. This kind of sign is not obvious in student days. When you are at an age like Leonard, you are depressed because of the failure of the competition and can never get a position. The competition for learning technology in medical school is like a beautiful fairy tale. However, looking at the interaction between Leonard and Professor James Mudd, their relationship was very good in medical school. Otherwise, even if they are close as classmates, they are definitely not so close. That's right, although the competition in medical school is much greater than that in ordinary schools and majors, friends still need to look at each other. Once they are in love and become good friends, the competition is more like a good-natured game between friends. Fun is the first priority. After all, New York is so big, with so many hospitals, can't it accommodate me and a few good friends? So, Adam, you are a best-selling author, why do you want to go to medical school? James and Leonard quarreled for a while, and timely focused on Adam. Leonard brought Adam to this occasion, and the intention was self-evident. I like the nobleness of doctors to save lives and heal the wounded. Adam said half-truthfully, this is incomparable to how much money you make. This is not empty talk. Leonard insisted. Adam has had this dream since he was a child. When he graduated from high school and applied for college, he chose the Department of Biology at Columbia University. He also volunteered at the New York University Medical Center. Now he has passed the MCAT and is preparing to apply for this year's Columbia University Medical School. Step by step, his goals are clear. At that time, he had not yet become a best-selling author. Rare. James nodded. Not only that, Leonard added, after becoming a best-selling author, he also spent money to buy medical equipment and practiced surgery in advance by hunting. He did it for 3 years. I can say with certainty that Adam is definitely the best student in this class. Really amazing. James really looked at Adam differently now, dreaming since childhood, step by step, with clear goals. This can only be said to be a regular resume. Even children know the income and status of doctors. There are many more people who aspire to be doctors than those who aspire to be scientists. It's not uncommon at all. But after making money, just to get familiar with it in advance, he spent a lot of money to buy medical equipment and practice surgery by hunting. That's really rare. Well, don't even think about it if you don't have money. Money once again bloomed its unique brilliance and weight at this moment. When James heard it, he knew that what Adam said about saving the dying and the wounded was really a dream of saving the dying and the wounded. It's not just an idea on the lips and a business in the heart, no matter how nice it sounds. It's actually just for higher income and status. Even if the United States from top to bottom does not deny that everything is for making money, sometimes the light of a real dream can still move people. I dare not say that Adam is the best in this class, James praised, but I believe that Adam is definitely one of the best. Huh? Leonard asked curiously, is there anyone better than Adam in this class? He was too familiar with this old classmate. After he praised Adam so much, this old classmate still did not agree with his evaluation of Adam. There must be a reason for that. Thinking that this old classmate is a professor at Columbia University Medical School and one of the members responsible for freshman admissions at Columbia University Medical School, he is much more informed than him. A chief physician working on the front line of the hospital, he must have received some news. Chapter 157 Murphy's Law, Four Seasons Hotel, New York. Banquet Hall. I heard that Stephen Murphy will come to our school. James smiled meaningfully. Murphy? Leonard frowned and said, Murphy from Murphy Pharmaceuticals? Yes. James nodded, with an expression that said, I don't need to explain the last name. Why doesn't he go to Harvard? Leonard was a little speechless. Although they all graduated from Columbia Medical School, they all think that their alma mater is the best. But Harvard Medical School is too famous and can be called a holy place for medical students. Privately, everyone thinks that Harvard is the best. After all, in the ranking of famous medical schools, Harvard has always been ranked first, and Columbia Medical School is only in the top 10. Adam originally planned to go to Harvard, but because of Leonard's relationship, he chose to stay in New York and apply for Columbia Medical School, hoping to get access to Leonard's connections. Although Murphy Pharmaceuticals is not a first-class pharmaceutical company, its energy is also extraordinary, and it is not limited to New York, but radiates throughout the country and even the world. If this Murphy of Stephen Murphy is the Murphy of Murphy Pharmaceuticals, then he can go to any medical school he wants and enjoy first-class treatment. Maybe his mother is worried or reluctant to let him go? James thought for a while and teased, what a bullshit reason. Leonard complained, how can a mama's boy be a good doctor? Although he said so, he still glanced at Adam and gave Adam a pitying look. Adam's mouth twitched. He naturally understood what Leonard meant. Although this Murphy may be a mama's boy and this kind of personality is really not suitable for being a doctor, The other party's surname determines that he will be a strong rival for Adam, because he will seize many resources and opportunities that originally belonged to Adam. At the beginning, because of Leonard's reminder, choosing to give up the top-ranked Harvard Medical School was indeed a very wise choice. Just look at the current situation. Columbia University Medical School is ranked 8th in the top 10 all year round, which is not the best, but before entering, the huge pressure brought by this kind of classmates whose background and relationship can be said to crush everything has begun. Try your luck. Maybe you won't meet. It's really unreliable. By the way, this guy's last name is Murphy. Is it God's will? There is a Murphy's Law in the West. Things tend to develop in the bad direction you think, as long as there is such a possibility. For example, you have 2 keys in your pocket, one for your room and one for your car. If you want to take out the car key now, what will happen? Yes, you often take the wrong room key. In other words, things with low probability usually happen. The more Adam doesn't want to encounter a huge pit like Leonard encountered in the past, the more likely he is to encounter it. Is it only this Murphy? Leonard quickly realized the key. If the first one can't make it, then the second one is also okay, as long as he is not as unlucky as he was in the past, and met 3 or 4 shameless people who used the back door in a row. It actually doesn't have a big impact. Columbia University Medical School can still allow 2 such awesome people to exist at the same time. Haha. James said playfully. The only one with such a strong relationship background is this Murphy. But what? Leonard said unhappily. But, James smiled and said, it is said that many people with connections are geniuses. Of course, some are real geniuses, and some are geniuses who get in through the back door. This class is more complicated than ours. At this point, he looked at Adam. Adam, you have to be mentally prepared. I know. Adam suppressed the complaints in his heart and nodded with a smile. Sure enough, Murphy's Law happened again. The less you think about something, the more it will come. However, with Leonard's connections and his talent and hard work, as long as he is not a person with a background like Murphy, Adam thought to himself that he was not afraid of any genius, even those geniuses who get in through the back door, because strictly speaking, he is also one of them. Seeing Adam so calm, James nodded in appreciation. For an excellent doctor, psychological quality is very important. According to his secret observation, Adam's conditions in all aspects are really excellent. It is no wonder that Leonard, an old classmate who hates people with connections, went against his usual habit to help Adam build relationships. The 3 chatted for a while, mainly Leonard and James, while Adam listened quietly, and occasionally interjected a few words at the right time. The relationship is very harmonious. However, because it was a medical event, many big names in the New York medical community kept coming. This time they came to introduce Adam, so Leonard naturally would not just talk to one person. Leonard took Adam away and found another professor at Columbia University Medical School to continue to introduce and build relationships. Adam was neither impatient nor impatient, and calmly followed Leonard's arrangements. This is necessary communication. It is also an opportunity that ordinary students can't even think of or ask for. Adam did not feel ashamed. He was not born to win at the starting line. In order to stand here today, he also made a lot of efforts. Isn't Rachel attractive? Aren't the 3 daughters of Green attractive? Isn't it pleasant to hear Leonard and Sandra accusing and complaining about each other? Without 3 years of hard work, he would not be standing here at all. So he felt at ease. At most, he was lucky. Well, luck is relative. Blessings and disasters depend on each other. Isn't this Murphy? And there are a group of genius connections who are good at using backdoors. Leonard was very attentive. He almost dragged Adam around the entire banquet hall and introduced all the people he could to Adam. Everyone looked at him sideways, because most of the people who have become big shots or have a place in the New York medical community are of Leonard's age. The New York medical community is not small, but not big either. Those who know Leonard naturally know what happened to Leonard in the past. This is a genius doctor who has suffered from the relationship. Now he has started to build relationships for others, and this person is not his son nor son-in-law, which is too surprising. Moreover, Adam's appearance, temperament and reputation as a best-selling author are still quite eye-catching. There are also a few people who are fans of the Lord of Mysteries, But they are not die-hard fans or brain-dead fans, but ordinary rational fans. But with this relationship, it's different. They chatted with Adam, and after talking about a few classic plots, the relationship naturally became much closer. With the addition of these rational fans, Leonard's introduction became much easier. From the beginning, he had to take the initiative to get together with the crowd, but now more and more people have gathered around him unknowingly, until he became the center of the banquet. On the outskirts of the crowd, a handsome young man couldn't help shrinking his eyes when he saw Adam chatting and laughing in the center of the crowd. P.S. Thanks to in-book friend 2020724120132765 for the reward. Chapter 158 Love Rival, Four Seasons Hotel in New York. Banquet Hall. Adam temporarily became the center of the party, facing so many seniors and masters. He was not shy and talked freely. This is the United States. The most important thing is to show your best side, even if you don't have it. But you can and must have it. You can brag as much as you can and make the scene look good. Don't be modest. Being modest will make people think you are incompetent. Everyone can brag. Who doesn't brag in their life? Who doesn't brag in their life? Others generally won't deliberately expose you. And even if someone looks down on you and wants to confront you, you can get the upper hand by just grasping one point. You say yours, I say mine. That is to blur concepts, steal concepts, spit in one's face, and repeat like a tape recorder. If that's not enough, then add exaggerated gestures to strengthen the tone and appeal, and implicitly threaten the other party. If you continue to talk back at me, I might really take action. As I said before, even the super geeks like Sheldon and Leonard in the United States can play many hand instruments, and their gestures are natural. They all have been specially trained. Adam is no exception. He has learned a variety of instruments including guitar, electronic keyboard, and drums. And what's more powerful than ordinary Americans is that he has also studied psychology and is about to get a bachelor's degree in psychology. The kind of you say yours, I say mine stunt that requires special training to learn. He will naturally learn it, and he doesn't even need to use it at all, because he can figure out the other party's psychology and the loopholes in his words, and make a logical, reasonable, and well-organized counterattack. And he doesn't need to be like a repeater, who can only repeat an irrelevant point to force himself to get out of the situation when he talks to himself and swallows his own spit. Fortunately, this is a gathering of the upper-class elites, and they are all medical professionals who are more rational than emotional. There is no jealousy and pretense that often occurs under normal circumstances. Even if there are one or two young people like Adam who are brought in by their elders to gain experience, they are a little jealous of Adam's popularity, but they will not jump out without grace and reason. It's him. The handsome young man standing on the periphery saw Adam in the center. His eyes shrank, and then there was a burst of envy and jealousy. Adam may not know him, but he knows Adam. His name is William Harvard, a senior student at the City University of New York, studying business administration. He usually works part-time as a bartender in a bar. He dreams of saving enough money one day to open his own bar and earn $1 million fortune. Speaking of his part-time job, it is also interesting. His uncle started as a bartender, worked hard for half his life, and finally owned his own small bar. When he arrived in Manhattan, New York, a place of feasting and revelry, he also went to the bar with his classmates, and then met a very charismatic bartender. The two of them had a liking for each other, and he needed to make money part-time, so the bartender took him in as an apprentice, taught him various bartending techniques, and the attitude of playing life. He was handsome and had been a playboy since he was a child. In a place like a bar, that was quite an advantage, and with the experienced bartender to teach him step by step, he soon changed from the original hard-to-flirt with his looks to a playboy with good looks and skills. Every woman felt that she was different from him, because he really regarded every woman as his true love. He cheated on others first and then cheated on himself, and he did it. Of course, this kind of true love came too fast, like a tornado, and it was the same when it left. A year ago, he met a girl at school, was shocked by her beauty, and immediately fell in love with her. Although this was the nth time he fell in love, He was really serious. So he pursued her decisively. It was a pity that this girl was not moved by his various routines at all, and even rejected him very much, and rejected him sternly. Of course, he was unwilling to give up. Whether it was the appearance or the figure of this girl, it was the best he had never met. What intoxicated him the most was her blue eyes, which were really life-threatening. But before he could launch a more fierce offensive, a man drove to the school and took her away affectionately. He must be her boyfriend. Because of that intimacy, there was no other choice. If it were someone else, he might be sad. But who is he? A lovelorn saint. It was not the first time he had encountered true love with a boyfriend. He loved her even more. But only by knowing yourself and the enemy can you win every battle. So he began to investigate this man. It was easy to find the information because it was all public. The author of The Lord of Mysteries, the youngest multimillionaire. Then, he retreated. Rich people are not to be trifled with. The life goal he tried so hard to achieve, he had already easily achieved it. How can he compare? Because he is more handsome. In front of money, handsomeness is worthless. Otherwise, why did the goddess ignore him but smile at that man? Still need to make money. He was deeply shocked and became more and more concerned about making money, especially making a lot of money. Of course, in this process, there is still an endless cycle of finding true love leaving him like a tornado, and true love coming again. Then he met a beautiful woman again, who ignored his charm again and dumped him for another man who was not as handsome as him, just because this man was a doctor. Compared with the goddess he couldn't get a year ago, is there any difference between him now and after so much effort? The answer is number. He worked hard part-time, but still didn't save much money, because unlike his uncle, he had a limited income and didn't save money, and the interaction process with true love itself required a lot of money. According to his accumulation process, what his uncle said when he mocked him was completely good advice. So, he was confused. Was the path he chose right? Then, after a long time, he went to his uncle's bar again and confided in his uncle. His uncle said that he should study medicine the most. Maybe there is no excitement of getting rich overnight, but it is the most reliable way to become a millionaire. He was persuaded, but his bartender master and buddies scoffed that studying medicine could not save him. Not everyone can go to medical school, and not everyone can graduate successfully. Even if they graduate successfully, the extremely high loans for studying medicine will make doctors work for capitalists for free for many years to pay off. The real future is to be a capitalist yourself, and the most convenient way is to find a rich woman to get sponsorship. The bartender master has been waiting for such an opportunity. William, however, realized it. He didn't care about hanging out with rich women, but rich women would only treat them as playthings. So how could they really give them a chance? So he made up his mind to follow his uncle's advice and work hard to study medicine. But according to normal channels, how could medical school be so easy to enter? Fortunately, as a playboy, he has always been good at adapting, and he works part-time in places like bars. As long as he is willing, he can still catch up with some doctors who come to relax. Then he got the news of the cocktail party. After trying every possible way, he finally got in, looking for opportunities, wanting to make connections and successfully enter medical school, preferably Columbia University Medical School. Thanks to his good looks and eloquence, he made smooth progress and made several female guests happy. When he was quietly inquiring about who could truly decide his fate, he saw Adam and recognized the man who made him feel ashamed and retreat in defeat. Chapter 159 I Love You. Four Seasons Hotel, New York. Banquet Hall. Peter Murphy is here. After Adam had been the center of the banquet for a while, he heard someone whisper something, and then the people gathered around him slowly walked away and greeted the family of three who had just walked in from the door. They were very natural and silent, and it was obvious that they had practiced this specially. The center instantly became the Murphy family. This is the power of wealth and connections. Leonard smiled at Adam and said, "You performed very well tonight and have exceeded our goal. Don't think too much. Enjoy the banquet next. I'm going to meet up with old friends." "Don't worry, I understand." Adam nodded and smiled. He really didn't care. Leonard glanced at him and saw that he really didn't feel lost from being the center to being a marginal figure in an instant. He smiled and nodded, holding a glass of wine, and walked towards James Mudd. William, who was on the periphery, saw this scene, and the corners of his mouth curled up unconsciously, and he was inexplicably very happy. Adam noticed that someone was still looking at him, so he looked over and exchanged a glance with William. William's face suddenly froze. Adam raised his eyebrows in surprise, and then walked directly to William. William's eyes narrowed, and he thought in shock, "Does he know me?" Adam noticed his expression, guessed his thoughts, and smiled in his heart. Of course he knew William, just as William would check him, a year ago, when Heather told him that someone was harassing her and wanted him to pick her up at school to force William's entanglement. Adam checked William. The name of Hawkinson and Tom Cruise's face made Adam ready for a fight. Unexpectedly, before he exerted any strength, this William had fallen down by himself and never appeared around Heather to entangle again. This surprised him very much, and he continued to check. He learned most of William's information, including that he wanted to save money to open a bar and make a lot of money. And then there was nothing else. Since William had given up on himself, Adam had no time and energy to pretend to be cool and slap his face. He originally thought that the matter was over, but he didn't expect to see William here again today, and the look in his eyes was a little gloating. This gave him an idea. Shiranju said, "Get close to friends and get closer to enemies." He wanted to see what William was up to. "Hello, I'm Adam Duncan." Adam took the initiative to greet him. "Hello, I'm William Hever." William responded with a stiff face. He has always been a confident person, otherwise he wouldn't have the reputation of being a playboy, but that was for the women who admired him. He was born a little lacking in confidence when facing Adam. Before, it was only in terms of wealth, but now with Adam's approach, his other biggest flaw was exposed. He had short legs and needed to look up at Adam. This was more embarrassing and awkward for him than the gap in wealth. "Aren't you studying business administration and working part-time in a bar to become a bar owner yourself? How come you were here?" Adam smiled. "You know me?" William was shocked and looked at Adam in disbelief. "Isn't this normal?" Adam smiled and said, "I think you know me too, don't you?" William didn't know why he suddenly didn't dare to look at Adam, and felt a chill in his heart. It was one thing for him to investigate others, but it was another thing for others to investigate quietly. And that person was the rival of a multimillionaire. "You know." The information he got from Adam was all public. And the few words Adam just said casually, "It is impossible to know without in-depth investigation." I didn't know before," William explained nervously. "Don't be nervous." Adam looked at him and saw that he was really just an ordinary person, without the shadow of a secret agent. He was relieved and smiled. "I'm just curious why you are in this kind of occasion." "I plan to be a doctor in the future." William was afraid that Adam would misunderstand, so he quickly explained, "I heard about this party and wanted to come and see it." "Are you going to be a doctor?" Adam was surprised. "Your bar is closed. Doctor may be more suitable for me." William saw that Adam didn't seem to have any bad intentions, and gradually relaxed. He couldn't help but look at Adam, and he felt a little strange in his heart. He was a bartender in a bar where there were all kinds of people, and he was very successful. He had seen all kinds of people. There were people with more wealth than Adam, and there were even more people who were taller than him. Now think about what he can do to him if he investigates him. Why is he so uncomfortable facing Adam? Good luck. After Adam learned of William's true purpose, he said no more, smiled and turned away. Pay attention to what you should pay attention to, and don't waste your energy on what you shouldn't pay attention to. If this William Hever really appears in front of him again in the future, it won't be too late to pay further attention to him then. Otherwise, he is just an insignificant passerby, even if he has Tom Cruise's face. This is the world of American TV series, and such a young Tom Cruise may just be a soy sauce in an American TV series. Without the luck of the protagonist, everything is empty. "Mr. Duncan, it's nice to meet you." Holding champagne in his hand, but not drinking it, Adam walked to the corner, ready to learn from Miss Justice to perform an audience drama, but unexpectedly someone came over and greeted him. "I'm Mildred. I'm a fan of the Lord of Mysteries. I love you so much." Adam looked sideways and saw a blonde girl of the same age, looking at him excitedly, and her words were very powerful. "No, I don't love you." The blonde girl Iliad also realized that there was something wrong with her words. She covered her mouth with her hand and explained repeatedly, "I mean I love your Lord of Mysteries very much. I love you." Adam's mouth twitched. What's going on? Are American girls so unrestrained now? Saying love as soon as you meet is too careless. If he remembered correctly, Americans are very cautious about the word I love you. Generally, it's just I like you, and once it arises to I love you, it means that she really wants to take the next step. For example, living together, getting engaged, getting married, etc. And if there is no response, then this relationship will face the risk of ending. In The Big Bang Theory, Leonard is the most excited about the indescribable aspects. He is moved to tears from time to time, and often writes thank you letters to please Penny. Once, after an indescribable process, Leonard was so excited that he said I love you directly. Penny was embarrassed at the time. After thinking for a long time, she responded seriously, thank you. Leonard was also confused, and then began a long struggle over Penny's thank you. The two broke up for a while. In How I Met Your Mother, Ted fell in love with Robin at first sight and couldn't help saying I love you on the first date. Then Robin, who was about to enter the main show, was scared away. They should have been together, but they dragged it out for a long time before starting again. But they are either a couple or about to be indescribable. What's the matter with this blonde girl? Chapter 160 I Can't Do It. Four Seasons Hotel New York, Banquet Hall. The blonde girl Iliad couldn't stand it anymore. She screamed, lowered her head in shame and was about to run. Miss Reed, your last name sounds familiar? Adam also realized that this girl might have said something out of turn because she admired him too much. For such a girl, like everyone else, he couldn't help but look at her differently, and naturally it was not good to let her leave in such shame, so he quickly changed the subject. Really? Iliad blushed and said in surprise, my grandfather is a doctor, my father is a doctor, and my brother is also a doctor. Maybe you have heard of it? Well, maybe. Adam smiled non-committally. He couldn't remember where he had heard this last name. Dr. Reed? Dr. Reed? Seeing that Iliad no longer wanted to run away in shame, and thinking of what Professor James Mudd had said before that his class would be very complicated, he couldn't help asking, so, you are still from a medical family? Are you going to be a doctor too? Yes, Iliad said happily. My family are all doctors. I also want to be a doctor. I want to prove to them that even if I am a girl, I am no worse than a boy. Her father gave her a very neutral name that can be used by both men and women but is more inclined to men. The meaning is self-evident. Medical family, very competitive. Adam muttered in his heart, although I don't know how talented she is. But with these two, she is another competitor. Now, he completely believed what Professor James Mudd said. Murphy's Law is really going to happen to him. Are you going to Columbia Medical School? Adam smiled helplessly. Yeah, Iliad said a little embarrassedly. My father and others suggested that I go to Columbia Medical School, but I actually want to go to Harvard Medical School or Johns Hopkins Medical School. She didn't say the reason, but since she appeared in this occasion now, it also represented her attitude. Looks like a competitive guy, but actually he has some inferiority complex. It's probably his parents' fault again. Adam analyzed in his heart. If he were a truly competitive and confident American free man, he would definitely stick to his own ideas, instead of compromising with his family and accepting their help in disguise. Adam looked at Leonard from a distance and saw that he was happily chatting with his old friends. The banquet would not end for a while, so he chatted with Iliad. Although Iliad was blonde, she was not a blonde girl like Penny. She was thin and a bit unattractive, but her appearance was okay, and she could be rated 6 or 7. Moreover, she admired Adam. She was from a medical family and was the same age and class as Adam. She had a different understanding of medicine from the older generation like Leonard, and was more suitable for young people. Therefore, Adam and her chat were quite interesting. Until, by the way, who do you like best in The Lord of Mysteries? Adam asked casually while chatting. Iliad was stunned. She had never read Lord of Mysteries. She just heard people in the crowd talking about Adam being the author of the book, so she came to chat him up under that name. The truth was that she was attracted by Adam's appearance and temperament, not a fan of the novel. Now that Adam asked her this question, how could she answer? I like the heroine the most," Iliad stammered. Adam immediately glanced at her. "Are you kidding? Does Lord of Mysteries have a heroine?" How could he not know? But thinking that many people might think Miss Justice is the heroine, he suppressed his complaints and continued to ask, "What do you like about the heroine?" The relationship between the heroine and the hero. Iliad racked his brains to think of how to fool him, and said vaguely, "It's so touching, especially the scene where they met for the first time. Wow, I almost cried." Adam's mouth twitched. It was true that he was about to cry, and the tears he shed were after being amused. This girl is a bit cute. Did she really think that she could hide the fact that she had never read Lord of Mysteries by telling those common male and female routines? No way, no way. But he would not expose her, but smiled playfully. "When I wrote that, I was also moved. By the way, who do you think she should choose?" Huh? Iliad was confused and had a headache. One liar acquired countless lies to cover it up. She regretted it so much. "The heroine." Adam suppressed his laughter and said, "Should she choose the hero, or choose to continue to follow her mistress?" "What's going on?" Iliad was even more dumbfounded, and shouted in her heart, "Where did a mistress jump out from? Lily? Ah, it must be Lily. Let me think about how to make it up." Just as her mind was running wild, Adam seemed to say to himself, "Although Susie was a dog before, she can talk after drinking the potion. She is actually no different from humans. Her talent is stronger than her mistress, but she and her mistress have a very good relationship. This choice is really difficult." WTF? Iliad was stunned. His eyes almost popped out. The heroine is not a human, but a dog? Even if she can talk, she is still a dog. Brother, do you have to be so picky? Thinking of this, she looked at Adam strangely. Her thoughts kept diverging. "I heard that writers all like to play, and it's simply jaw-dropping when they get crazy. My dad met a patient who was a writer. Because he couldn't write a work that satisfied him for several years, he swallowed all the manuscripts in a rage and finally had to have surgery to take them out." Oh my God! Compared with Adam, that writer is as normal as a little white rabbit. Lord of Mysteries? This name is very mysterious and weird. A talking bitch is the heroine. She has to choose between the hero and the heroine. It seems to be really interesting. After the banquet is over, I will buy a copy to read. Just as her mind was constantly going off the track, Adam looked at her with his peripheral vision and saw that she was completely stunned. At first, he felt very funny, but as she was stunned for too long, he became a little uneasy. Did he make her stupid? He was not lying. In his previous life, many people regarded Susie, whose role was not much less than Miss Justice, as the real heroine. The charm of the fantasy dog is no joke. However, for those who have not seen The Lord of Mysteries and don't know that there is actually no real heroine in it, this amount of information is too much. This girl is a little cute to begin with, and it is hard to guarantee that she is not shocked. "Iliad," Adam called out worriedly. "Ah." Iliad woke up from her thoughts, and looked at Adam with a strange look in her eyes. She laughed dryly and said a few perfunctory words, then walked away quickly. Even if she coveted Adam's body, when she met such an Adam, she could only say, "Your Majesty, you are too good at playing, and I can't do it." P.S. Thank you for the reward from Banhumian Book Friend 20181109191916658. The source of the characters has been published in the related works, and you can go and have a look if you need it. Chapter 161 Be My Boyfriend, Four Seasons Hotel New York, Banquet Hall. After the noisy Iliad left, Adam began to be a spectator. His eyes fell on the center of the banquet. The Murphy family. Peter Murphy, the head of the family, chatted and laughed with everyone, and took care of almost all the doctors around him one by one, which made people feel like spring breeze. Mrs. Murphy, like Nora, is an old lady, generous, elegant and calm, and there are many people around her, both men and women. Many people also have desires in their eyes, both men and women. A young man, who should be Stephen Murphy mentioned by Professor James Mudd, stood next to Peter Murphy and was introduced to everyone by Peter. He is a bit introverted, and his few words were understated, but they were praised by everyone. Adam could only secretly sneer at this. They are not praising people, but Franklin. Putting away the complaints, Adam carefully looked at this extremely heavyweight opponent in the next medical school career and even in the doctor's career. Ordinary appearance. Adam couldn't help but take another look at the gorgeous Mrs. Murphy. After thinking for a while, he looked at Peter Murphy again, and then nodded in understanding. As a big boss in the medical industry, Peter Murphy makes people subconsciously only notice his outward momentum and ignore his appearance. Upon closer inspection, his appearance is ordinary or even below ordinary. It seems that this Peter must have really started from scratch. Otherwise, if he has been rich for generations, he would have married handsome men or beautiful women, and his genes would have been optimized, so his appearance would definitely be above the ordinary line. He is introverted, with a reserved and peaceful smile, and looks easy to deal with. But Adam felt a little nervous. If this kind of temperament can be maintained all the time, it would be great. But once he encounters setbacks, he may change to an extreme direction, and the competition in the process of studying medicine is fierce, which is obvious. Adam and others can't give in to him just because he is the son of a super rich man. Where there is competition, there will be conflicts. Can he accept failure? Adam is very skeptical. What if he turns evil after failure? Adam didn't think too much. This kind of thing is very common in reality. What's more, this world is a world where American TV dramas and movies are integrated. The frequency of Murphy's Law is simply too high. Abandoning Columbia Medical School and choosing Harvard Medical School again? There is Murphy here, and there is no such person in Harvard. Don't joke. Let's act according to the situation. Adam thought with a headache. At worst, just let him go. Just treat it as coaxing a child. Of course, if this is a naughty child who is difficult to coax, Adam will not coax him hard. At that time, let him be the big devil in the other's life journey. After observing the #1 suspected competitor, Adam set his sights on William Harvard, the rival in love. But William was seen wandering among the female guests, and his gestures could attract their attention frequently. Then he set his sights on a woman. This was a female professor at Columbia University that Leonard had brought Adam to meet before. She was not young, in her 50s, and her maintenance was average, but her heart was not old, and she frequently had intimate interactions with the young and handsome William. Adam was a bystander and could clearly see the entanglement and struggle in William's eyes. Finally, the female professor pinched William's arm and left the hall. William stood there for a long time before gritting his teeth and drinking the champagne in the glass. He followed the direction the female professor went. Looking at William's back, Adam seemed to have a poem in his mind. The wind is whistling and the Yishui River is cold, and the warrior will never return once he leaves. Adam couldn't help laughing. You can still come back, but you will no longer be a warrior or a teenager at that time. Adam's eyes swept across the audience and then fell on the cute and neurotic Iliad. He saw her following 3 men of different ages who looked similar to her, and greeted everyone. Everyone's attitude was closer to Adam than to Adam, and more casual than to Stephen Murphy. They really regarded Iliad as a close junior. As expected, he is a child of a medical family. The banquet was over. Adam drove Leonard back. On the way, Adam, you performed very well tonight. Leonard smiled drunkenly. They all have a good impression of you. This is a good start. It's all thanks to your introduction. Thank you. Adam thanked him sincerely. Without Leonard's dedicated introduction, it would be difficult for Adam to enter this circle even if he had tens of millions of dollars. Not to mention communicating with so many doctors and professors who are closely related to him and establishing preliminary personal connections. The reason why a circle is that it keeps outsiders out and ensures that the people they identify are in the circle. Although money can do whatever you want, Adam's tens of millions of dollars obviously does not reach the level of breaking the circle and doing whatever he wants. In fact, which of the medical masters tonight does not have tens of millions of dollars? For those who can earn millions of dollars a year, tens of millions of dollars is just a matter of working for a few years. I can't help you much now. Leonard smiled. After entering the medical school, it all depends on your own efforts. When you graduate and come to the medical center for residency training, I can take you in person at that time. I am looking forward to that day. Adam smiled. During the residency training, although you follow senior residents during the internship, You still have to follow the attending physician for the actual surgery. After all, residents do not have the authority to perform surgery independently, and they also need the attending physician to lead them. The degree of letting go depends on the resident's skills. With Leonard, the attending physician of cardiothoracic surgery, Adam will definitely get very preferential treatment. Even if he has a conflict with Stephen Murphy, he is not afraid of most of the other parties' methods. When Adam thought about how he tried his best to establish this relationship, he was deeply intoxicated with his own wisdom and bravery. Central Park Cafe. After sending Leonard back, Adam drove back and passed by here. Seeing Rachel standing there, thinking of Leonard, he couldn't help but push the door in. Friends should care about each other more. Hi, Rachel. Adam. Rachel looked up and saw that it was Adam. She was overjoyed and rushed over to grab Adam's hands, saying excitedly, "You are finally back." "What's wrong?" Adam was a little surprised. "Can you help me with something?" Rachel begged. Of course, Adam had just felt the caring of Rachel's father, so he naturally would not refuse Rachel and nodded without hesitation. "Great," Rachel cheered. "What's the matter?" Adam asked curiously. "Oh." Rachel realized that she had not told Adam what happened yet. She was a little entangled when the words came to her lips. Under Adam's urging, she hesitated several times. "Adam, can you be my boyfriend?" Adam. Chapter 162. I Can Do Anything. Central Apartment Cafe. Faced with Rachel's request, Adam was a little confused. Then countless thoughts flashed through his mind. Did they have a conflict, and Ross cheated on her after the conflict? Now Rachel wants to retaliate fiercely. So she wants to use Adam as a tool? Or are Rachel and the others planning to prank Adam, and Monica and the others are hiding nearby? Adam looked around and didn't find anyone hiding in the dark and peeping. The biggest possibility is that they are using him as a tool for revenge. To obey or not? This is a question. Alas, it's a pity that this is not the era of knights keeping their promises. Adam sighed in his heart and decided to refuse Rachel. The current situation is very good, which shows that the previous decision was wise and brave, so Adam does not intend to destroy it. The key is that there is no reason to exchange it for money, right? "I'm sorry, Rachel, you and Ross are both my good friends. I can't do this." "Why not?" Rachel said anxiously. "I have already talked to Ross. Although he is not happy, he also agreed." "He agreed?" Adam was stunned. What's going on? Could it be that Ross felt guilty and wanted to continue this relationship, so that Rachel could let it go, and agreed to let Rachel do it once, so that they could offset each other and continue on? If it were the East Country, Adam would not think so, but here, he had to think so, because this possibility was really great. "Damn it, this rotten and decadent American TV world," Adam said with difficulty. "I'm sorry. Even if Ross agrees, I can't do this." "Why? Why?" Rachel was anxious. "I just asked you to pretend to be my boyfriend. Even Ross agreed. Why don't you want to? Are you still a friend, huh?" Adam was stunned. "You want me to pretend to be your boyfriend? What for, since it's just pretending? It's naturally not the work of a real boyfriend." While he secretly breathed a sigh of relief, he also felt a little disappointed. As a student of psychology, he cursed in his heart. This is a damn weakness of human nature. "It's Barry and Minty's wedding." Rachel didn't notice Adam's little thoughts and explained, "I agreed to Minty's invitation to be her bridesmaid." "This matter?" Adam suddenly realized and couldn't help laughing. "What do you think?" Although there was this funny thing in the original time and space, Adam had already reminded Barry that he might slander her in various ways. Unexpectedly, Rachel still agreed. The inertia of the plot is really big. "I don't know." Rachel slapped her forehead hard and said in annoyance, "When Minty said a few good words, I couldn't help myself. Now when I think about going to their wedding and being ridiculed by Barry's relatives and friends, I want to kill myself." With Adam's reminder, Rachel naturally investigated at the beginning and knew that Barry had slandered her in various ways after she ran away from the marriage, so now she regrets it very much. "Then why don't you just not go?" Adam reminded. "You shouldn't have gone to such an occasion." "But I've already promised Minty." Rachel was entangled. "What's wrong with promising?" Adam said disapprovingly. "Just find a random excuse, such as being allergic to lobster and getting sick and can't go." "What if Minty comes to see me?" Rachel shook her head. And I love lobster the most. I can't fool Minty. Do you really forgive Minty and plan to continue to be good friends with her in the future? Adam was a little surprised. This is a cheating best friend and a cheating ex-fiancé. How can you tolerate this? Minty is different. Rachel hesitated. She used to be my best friend, even if she's not the best now, but I still want to be friends with her. Adam looked at her strangely. He vaguely knew why this Minty was a little different to Rachel, as if Minty had personally taught her a lot of skills, including kissing and the like. And she has already sent the bridesmaid dresses, Rachel added. It won't have a big word mother written on it, will it? Adam complained subconsciously. Huh? Rachel looked at Adam in confusion. Nothing, Adam responded and smiled. I just remembered that I had a friend from the East who was in a very similar situation to you. He missed his wedding, and when he arrived, the bride had already run away with her ex-boyfriend. A few years later, he met them again and found out that they were getting married, and the bride had also sent him an invitation. He naturally refused, but his friend accepted it on his behalf. The bridesmaid dress sent by the bride had a big word mother printed on it. Wait, Rachel interrupted, isn't he a man? How can he be a bridesmaid? Because the bride treats him as a sister. Adam laughed. Is he gay? Rachel suddenly realized. No, Adam laughed. He is a real man, and he is also known as Jong Da Pao. Rachel covered her mouth and exclaimed, then why did he agree? It's very simple, Adam teased. He was just like you. He agreed without thinking, but for the sake of face, he had to bite the bullet and go ahead. He really tried on that unique bridesmaid dress. What happened in the end? Rachel asked with concern. In order not to go, he once ate lobster, you know. He is severely allergic to lobster. Adam smiled and said, in the end, he miscalculated the date and suffered in vain. On the wedding day, he was already well, but he still didn't go, because no matter what entanglement they had in the past, they are no longer close now. They can't see each other for several years. Why should they lose more face for a little face? Is that so? Rachel thought. She felt that the experience of this friend Adam mentioned was really like hers. Maybe she should really learn from Adam's friend and tell Minty directly that she would not go. In order to make herself more confident, she planned to invite Adam to pretend to be her boyfriend, and she had quarreled with Ross several times for this, because in her eyes, Ross's doctoral status is not as good as her ex-fiancé Barry's dentist. If she didn't know about Barry's various slanders, she would let her real boyfriend Ross accompany her. But after knowing this, she either didn't go or had to find someone who crushed Barry in all aspects. Let others know that she is not crazy, but she deserves better. In the circle of friends, Adam's appearance, figure, and reputation as the youngest multimillionaire can crush Barry, so he is naturally the first choice. Adam, you still go with me? Rachel said weakly. Are you sure? Adam did not refuse. She is Leonard's baby daughter and his good friend. Naturally, she should help if she can. Yeah, Rachel nodded heavily. Although it is a headache and embarrassing to be a bridesmaid for Minty this time, it is also a good opportunity. As long as she takes Adam with her, she can clear Barry's slander against her. No matter what you plan to do, I can do it. Adam smiled, but the prerequisite is that you have to convince someone first. P.S. There are 2 more chapters in the evening. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 163, Making a Short Movie, 520. I don't agree. Monica was furious when she heard it, pointing at Adam and saying, you cheated. Don't get excited, honey. Monica's boyfriend, Dr. Richard, quickly comforted her. Hi, Richard. Adam smiled and greeted him. Hi, Adam. Richard also smiled and responded with an apologetic look. Monica, don't get excited. Adam smiled and said, Rachel took the initiative to invite me, not me who planned this. How about this? Our bet is void, and it's a tie, okay? No. Monica shook her head and said, without you, I don't believe Rachel would really dare to be a bridesmaid, so I won our bet. 2 years ago, when Rachel appeared in the Central Perk Cafe in her wedding dress, Monica lost $500 to Adam, and then she bet with Adam again, saying that Rachel and Barry would never appear in the church together again. First they bet $500, then raised it to $1,000, and finally they wanted to raise it again but were stopped by the cautious Ross, so the bet was $1,000, with a 2-year deadline. Now it's exactly 2 years, so there's no problem with time, and with the disaster that Minty invited Rachel to be a bridesmaid, the outcome of the bet depends on whether Rachel dares to go. Monica knew that Rachel was going to go, but she still decided to take a gamble in her heart. You don't gamble to lose. Besides, she really didn't believe that Rachel would really dare to go. Monica, a gambler with an explosive competitive spirit, was unwilling to accept even a tie. Monica. Rachel looked at her in disbelief and shouted, "You actually bet on something like this?" "I'm sorry." Monica glanced at Rachel apologetically, but then looked up at Adam with her chest puffed out. "The bet still has to go on. As the party to the bet, you can't interfere unless you admit defeat." "Okay." Adam and the high-spirited Monica looked at each other and nodded. "I admit defeat." "You admit defeat?" "I win." Monica was stunned, then jumped up and laughed. "Ha ha, I win. Give me the money." "You loser, you win this time." Adam took out a checkbook from his wallet, wrote a check for $1,000 and handed it to Monica, smiling. "But you won't be so lucky next time." "You're overdoing it," Rachel said angrily. "Don't you see that Adam is letting you?" "I know." Monica took the check, kissed it, and said apologetically, "But he can insist, so theoretically I still win." "Rachel, sorry, I lost to him again last time. I don't want to lose again, otherwise I would be crazy." He said. "Here." She waved the check. "I invite everyone to eat a big meal tomorrow." She took a smile and patted Joey's shoulder. Monica was such a person. "It was too strong. When I was a kid, I could get a black hand in order to win, let alone Adam." "Leonard took you away?" Uncle Beard Richard surprised. "It seems that he is nice to you, and he used to hate this occasion most." Richard also knew Leonard, because he was also a doctor, and he was a good friend with Monica's parents. Of course. Monica snuggled up to Richard, who could really be her father, and teased, "This is not the first time Ross has been jealous of this." "Not just Ross," Rachel echoed. "Even I have to doubt that Adam is my parents' biological son." "Hey, Richard, aren't you also a doctor?" "Why didn't you go to this party?" Joey asked curiously. "Ahem." Chandler coughed heavily. "What's wrong? Are you feeling unwell?" Joey didn't get Chandler's hint for a moment, and said with concern, "I'm a doctor, but I run my own clinic and usually don't go to such parties." Richard smiled. "There are so many doctors in New York, it would be a mess if they all went." Monica glared at Joey and spoke for her beloved boyfriend. "Yes." Adam tried to smooth things over. "Besides, Richard would rather be with Monica than go to a boring party, right?" "Of course." Richard saw Monica looking up at him, and smiled dotingly. Monica was intoxicated, and the curve of her mouth could not be controlled at all. As a person who loves uncles and dads, she really loves Richard, who was once her father's good friend, her good uncle, and now her perfect boyfriend. If Adam hadn't reminded her again and again, she really wanted to agree to Richard's request to shoot some commemorative videotapes. Doing anything with the person you love most is happiness, and now she wants to marry him, so what's the big deal about shooting a videotape? However, Adam's words that he emphasized again and again always popped up in her mind. What if? It's better to be safe than sorry. What if she breaks up with him, and then meets someone she loves deeply and sees this videotape? What will the other person think? She thinks this possibility is too small and doesn't take it to heart. But what if, as Adam said, it is accidentally spread and seen by all acquaintances and even her parents? It would be really embarrassing. You know, her parents and Richard are good friends and often interact with each other, and the chance of accidentally seeing it is really not small. Phoebe still remembers what happened when she was recognized because of a movie she made with her twin sisters. She doesn't want to be such a star. Adam looked at this scene and shook his head secretly. Richard is over 50 years old this year, while Monica is only in her 20s. It's really a father-daughter age difference, and it's the kind of late marriage and late childbearing. In another 10 years, Monica will still be in her prime, while Richard will be a completely old man. In this country that attaches great importance to the indescribable, what future do they have? Richard is just an ophthalmologist, and he is at the bottom of the contempt chain of the doctor system, far inferior to Leonard. The only explanation for all this is that he has a special personal charm. Rachel and Phoebe think so, and so do Joey and Chandler. Chandler once learned to grow a beard from Richard and imitated him to hold a cigar. This is a financially free and charming old man. Monica is not an exception. Adam has met a female writer who is very good at interpreting the relationship between men and women when attending banquets in the past 2 years. She is just like a future female singer who uses books and songs to dissect her ex-boyfriends. She is so experienced, but she still can't resist the temptation of the charming old man nicknamed Big Man. She has been defeated several times and suffered a lot. Of course, Adam, who has studied psychology, secretly speculated that she might do this on purpose, because this is the only way to appreciate the lingering and luxurious atmosphere of feelings. The other party is a billionaire in the upper class. For those target groups who yearn for wealth and love who read her books, she is simply a male god. They are all foxes who have lived for thousands of years, and they are naturally playing Liao Zai. Adam didn't give this female writer a chance to get close. He didn't want to be the male protagonist in a book, with all kinds of private matters in bed exposed to everyone. Even if he is said to be the greatest man in the world, it won't work. Chapter 164 Almost Exposed. 520. Everyone chatted for a while. Richard got up and left. He was too old, and there was a gap between him and everyone else. Chandler and the others were not willing to take him out to play, so he usually dated Monica alone. Monica looked at his back infatuatedly, with a happy smile on her face. The person is gone, but the soul can come back, Chandler joked. Is it that serious? How dare you say that? Monica shot back, who said that he was just playing with her aura, who brought her breakfast in the morning and complained sourly because she left. Who was that infatuated man? Chandler. Rachel laughed. Okay. Chandler raised his hand and said, Aurora was just an accident. Didn't you see that I decisively broke up with her? Decisive? Monica complained. Oh my God, you stabbed her neck with a fork, but it saved her life. Adam reminded. Without Chandler, she probably wouldn't know she had a heart disease. Thank you. Chandler thanked him repeatedly and looked around proudly. If Chandler hadn't sacrificed himself to be bitten by her, who knows what she would have bitten? Adam changed the subject and teased. And if it was someone else, how could Chandler react so quickly, use the fork so skillfully, and let her loose so accurately? Ha ha ha. Everyone laughed. Chandler stared at Adam helplessly. Oh, and that time, Joey added, if Aurora hadn't left Chandler with a psychological trauma about public places, his elementary school classmate would have succeeded long ago. It's better to let her succeed. Monica and several other girls looked at Chandler with disdain. You stripped a girl's pants in public, and you don't allow her to retaliate? That was in elementary school, decades ago. Chandler shouted, and I didn't mean to do it, but you still stripped her pants. Adam laughed. The little girl still remembers it until now. In order to get revenge on you, she even sacrificed herself to seduce you. That shows how much she cares about that incident. In my opinion, you should have let her vent her anger. I apologized. Chandler was speechless. Does she really have to trick me into the bathroom, strip naked, and then have me come out naked before she can vent my anger? Why not? Adam teased. This is far inferior to what you did back then. So what if you let her succeed? That's right. Monica and the other two girls echoed in unison. Ross and Joey also nodded, with an expression of shame for being associated with her. Do you want me to call her now and tell her that I will punish her? Chandler said self-deprecatingly. Really? Joey's eyes lit up and she exclaimed in surprise, I still have her business card. I'll help you call. As she said that, she jumped up from the sofa and ran to the apartment opposite to find the business card. Don't be surprised. Chandler's elementary school classmate is a makeup artist for a film and television crew. She knows many people in the industry. Joey doesn't want to miss any opportunity. Fortunately, it's not a battlefield. Otherwise I would definitely not die at the hands of the enemy, but be killed by friendly forces by mistake. Chandler mocked. Don't think so. A sincere apology is what you should do. You have left her with a psychological shadow for more than 20 years. You should be the one who understands this psychological shadow the most. Adam reminded. Put yourself in her shoes. If there is a chance to help you eliminate the psychological shadow of the past, what would you do? Chandler was stunned and murmured, I am willing to pay any price. The mess of his parents almost ruined his life. In the original time and space, he kept falling in love, but he always took a step back before taking a step closer, because he didn't dare to be too intimate, for fear of repeating his parents' mistakes. So much so that he and Monica were about to get married, and he wanted to deliberately say that he didn't want to get married at all and then propose to Monica as a surprise. As a result, Monica, who knew his past, really took it seriously, and went to Richard in grief, and almost cheated on Chandler. Fortunately, Monica stopped at the brink. Otherwise a beautiful marriage would be ruined. Chandler might really die alone like the neurotic old man living alone downstairs, as he was very afraid at the beginning. That's it, Adam advised. She didn't do anything too much, just wanted you to lose face and experience her embarrassment and shame at the beginning. You are so old. Even if you lose face, what can you do? Turn around and pass it. Monica and the other two girls looked sideways, looked at each other, and saw this strange look in each other's eyes, and then glanced at Chandler's lower body together. What's wrong? Adam was keenly aware of their misconception. Nothing. Go on. Monica and the other two girls tried to hold back their laughter and looked away in unison. We've all seen your elementary school classmate. Tell me the truth. Isn't she hot? She's not even worse than an average female star, right? Adam smiled and said, maybe after you have made peace with each other, you can still have a romantic journey. Yes, I've said she looks like Julia Roberts. Vivian in Pretty Woman. Everyone was talking about it. Should I really do this? Chandler was persuaded, mainly because Adam asked him to think from their perspective. But of course it was not ruled out that he was indeed amazed by the appearance and temperament of his female classmate. Of course, everyone said in unison. Okay. Chandler jumped up, twisted his body and clapped his hands, saying, I'll call now. I want to solve this matter. I shouldn't be her shadow. Come on. Everyone cheered. Joey still hadn't come back, and Chandler couldn't wait to run back to find the phone number. What's wrong? Adam was speechless when he saw Monica and the other two girls looking at him with scrutiny. You're not right. You're very wrong. You seem to be particularly nice to Chandler. Monica and the other two girls suddenly said something that made Adam's heart beat faster. Is that so? Fortunately, Adam had mastered his acting skills since he came here, and he remained calm and innocent. Of course I am. Monica shouted. Every time Chandler has something, you are very patient in guiding him and helping him. Yes, if it was Ross, you would either tease him or ridicule him. Rachel echoed. Don't make the difference in attitude too obvious. Ross also looked over with a suspicious look on his face. What do I think? Adam said with a smile. Do Chandler and Ross have the same experience and personality? Monica, you should know this best. According to your original words, Ross has been a prince since he was a child, and you really want to change his parents with him. Seeing Monica nod, Adam continued, the psychological trauma you have suffered since you were a child is already very big, but it is still not as good as Chandler. In this case, isn't it normal for me to be more patient with Chandler? Think about it. Am I also very patient with you? Then I should be teased and ridiculed. Ross said dissatisfiedly. You deserve it. This time, without Adam saying anything, Monica shouted, Adam did the right thing. What's wrong with teasing and ridiculing you? A prince like you who grew up smoothly. Do you still want extra attention? You are too greedy. It turns out that Adam has thought so deeply. Phoebe praised. Adam is great. Haha. Adam smiled reservedly, but secretly breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. It was a close call. He was almost exposed. Chapter 165, Happy Troubles. 520. Susie, it's me, Chandler. I want to say hello to you. Hello? Chandler walked in with the phone, but before he could finish his words, the other party hung up. Apparently, after the last revenge plan failed, the other party simply gave up. This kind of revenge requires surprise. After being exposed, there is no need to continue to invest energy. because no one will accept revenge obediently, and it is said that the revenge she wants is humiliating." She hung up. Chandler said helplessly to everyone, "She didn't give me a chance at all. This proves the necessity of your apology even more." Adam smiled and said, "If the phone call doesn't work, just meet directly. As long as you really want to apologize, I don't believe you can't do it. You can regard this as a test." "Test?" Chandler hesitated. "Yes," Adam reminded, "you have only one purpose, and that is to make her forgive you." He didn't say another sentence. "Heal her and heal yourself." Adam didn't feel that believing in God meant forgiving everything, because that was completely against human nature. For example, in the original Time and Space, Sheldon's mother met Leonard's mother. Leonard's mother Beverly was a scientist. When she heard Sheldon's mother Mary mention God, she started to mock. Leonard and his friends separated the two of them and comforted them separately. Sheldon's mother Mary was a devout believer. She said that as a believer, "Of course I forgive Beverly, because a good believer should be hit on the left cheek and then turn the right cheek. Otherwise, as a good Texan, she should shoot Beverly to death." Nothing can be taken to extremes, and the same is true for forgiveness. The grudge between Chandler and Susie belongs to the scope of forgiveness. Adam believes that Chandler can definitely dispel some of the past haze in the process of seeking Susie's forgiveness. Shu Renju said, "A good childhood heals a lifetime, and a bad childhood needs a lifetime to heal." Chandler has Monica in the second half of his life, and has reserved a healing card for the second half of his life. Before that, Adam, as a friend and psychological elder, took on the task of helping Chandler heal. "Chandler, be more manly." Monica agreed. "Before, people would mistake you for being gay. Now it's time to show your manly side." "Only by taking off your pants?" Ross laughed. That's really the only way. Everyone looked at him. "What's wrong?" Ross suddenly felt a little uncomfortable and spread his hands and said, "I'm joking." "Now is not the time to joke," Monica said. Ever since she heard Adam mention why he treated Ross and Chandler differently, she remembered the grievances she had suffered over the years, the completely different attitudes of the same parents. She wanted to exchange parents with Ross from the bottom of her heart. Now everyone is supporting and encouraging Chandler, while her prince brother Ross is playing with his humor. Even though she knew it was a joke, she felt it was particularly harsh. Okay. Ross saw that everyone was staring at him, so he had to raise his hands and surrender. "I know what to do." Chandler's eyes became firm and he looked at Adam gratefully. He was not a stupid person. He vaguely felt what Adam had not said. Adam was particularly good to him, and he knew it, but he didn't think much about it, because even if they are all in the circle of friends, there are still some closeness and distance between each other. Theoretically, there is only one BFF among friends, and this person is also the best choice for the chief best man or chief bridesmaid at the wedding. Thinking of this, he had some happy troubles. Joey is his roommate, and they get along day and night. Ross is his college roommate, and they have been together for the longest time. Adam is his good friend and is especially good to him. If he gets married in the future, who should he ask to be the chief best man? Distress. Adam naturally didn't expect that Chandler would have happy troubles in the blink of an eye. Otherwise he would definitely tell Chandler, "Don't mind, I don't fight, I can do anything." The next night, Adam deliberately dressed up again and came to apartment 520 to pick up Rachel to attend the wedding of his ex-fiancée and ex-best friend. "Are you okay?" Seeing Ross looking at him sourly, Adam patted his shoulder. "Of course there is a problem," Ross complained. "I am Rachel's real boyfriend, I should go to such occasions." "Or, you can talk to Rachel again?" Adam laughed. Ross paused. How dare he say anything else? Otherwise Rachel, who is on the verge of rage, might break up with him directly. If it were someone else, he might not be able to bear it, but he still believed in Adam. Because if Adam really had an idea, he would have been out of his business long ago. How is it? Rachel came out of the bedroom wearing the red bridesmaid dress sent by the bride Minty, and asked nervously. "It's so beautiful," Ross shouted exaggeratedly, turning his head and winking and mouthing to everyone, "Praise her for her beauty." "Wow, the most beautiful bridesmaid. Are you sure this is a bridesmaid dress, not a bride's dress?" Minty is in trouble. "With a bridesmaid as beautiful as you, her brilliance will be greatly reduced," Everyone agreed in unison. Adam really thought it was beautiful, because clothes are worn by people. People with good looks look like brides no matter what they wear, while people with low looks look like cosplay waitresses even when wearing custom-made wedding dresses. In the eyes of pure Americans like Ross, Rachel's red bridesmaid dress is simply tacky and ugly, full of the bride's sinister malice. Chandler even whispered, "We don't have sheep here. This is what shepherdesses wear." Adam was speechless about this. Even though he had been here for 6 or 7 years, he still couldn't understand the American aesthetics. "Monica, are you and Richard ready?" Adam asked. At Barry and Minty's wedding, Richard, as a community ophthalmologist, naturally knew Barry's family and was invited. Monica attended as a female companion. However, because she was not a bridesmaid, she dressed more casually. Okay. Monica held Richard's hand and agreed in unison. "Then let's go," Adam suggested. The 4 of them went downstairs together. Adam drove, Richard sat in the passenger seat, and Monica accompanied Rachel in the back seat and headed towards the wedding site. "Rachel, don't be too nervous. With Adam as your boyfriend, no one has the right to laugh at you," Monica comforted. "I know. I'm not nervous," Rachel said insincerely. "Really not nervous? Really not nervous? Then can you let go of my hand?" Monica gritted her teeth. I'm sorry." Rachel finally realized that she was holding Monica's hand tightly, and because she was too strong, she hurt Monica. Monica rolled her eyes and shook her hand vigorously. Chapter 166 No one can blame my friend. Church. Adam, Monica and Richard sat in their seats, looking at Rachel standing up there with pity. Last time, Rachel stood in the middle facing Barry, with a row of bridesmaids behind her, and the chief bridesmaid Minty standing in the front. This time, Minty, wearing a white wedding dress, stood in the middle facing Barry, and she, who forgave Minty and Barry, the 2 betrayers, and came to their wedding with good intentions, could only wear an ugly red bridesmaid dress, stand away from the altar, and stand at the end of the bridesmaids. That's it. She also had to endure the frequent stares of most of the guests who attended both weddings, thinking of Barry's family spreading vicious rumors that she had been poisoned by beauty and went crazy, and the guests in the audience whispering to each other from time to time. She was really going crazy. Originally, she thought she had considered the worst-case scenario and made the worst plan. But when she really faced it, she found that there was no worst, only worse. But she still had to smile, even if the smile was already extremely stiff. "I've always dreamed of my own wedding." Monica looked at the altar with envy, and whispered to Richard, "Rachel has stood on it twice, even as a bridesmaid this time, but I haven't stood on it once. It's no wonder that my mother once ridiculed me. Rachel at least has a chance to keep Barry on the altar, but I don't even have a chance." "You will." Richard and Adam looked at each other and smiled helplessly. Everyone could understand what Monica meant, that is, she wanted to get married. But Richard, who had just ended his marriage of several decades, didn't think so. However, in this atmosphere, as an experienced and mature old man, he couldn't say number. Adam smiled in understanding. The happy mood at the wedding scene has a very serious impact on single girls. Barney, the love saint in How I Met Your Mother, especially likes to attend weddings because there are many beautiful bridesmaids at the wedding, and the emotions of these bridesmaids have been mobilized. Usually, it takes 100% of the routine to successfully get on base, but at this moment, only 30% is needed, which is the best chance to get on base. The guide to picking up girls he wrote was a thick hardcover book, which contained many tricks used in weddings. Of course, there were not only tricks for bridesmaids, but also for brides. After the wedding ceremony, everyone came to the hotel to attend the wedding banquet. "Rachel, pay attention." Adam was sharp-eyed and saw that Rachel was wrong at a glance. He walked quickly to her side and blocked behind her. "What's wrong?" Rachel was deeply shocked and a little distracted. "Don't you feel a little cold behind you?" Adam reminded. "What?" Rachel was stunned and reached out to touch it. The cold touch was transmitted to her nerve center, which made her shudder. Only then did she realize that half of her buttocks were exposed. OMG. Rachel's face flushed and she quickly adjusted her dress. "Adam, I can't stand it anymore." Rachel covered her face and said, "Can you take me away?" "Are you sure?" Adam reminded. "You could choose not to come before, but now that you are here, if you leave early, You will really be laughed at by them for the rest of your life. What should I do? Rachel said confusedly. Smile, Adam encouraged. Barry is just a scumbag who you dumped after you found out the problem in time. Minty knew Barry was a scumbag but still chose to marry him. That was stupid of her. Only you are wise and righteous, and the final victory will definitely belong to you. Me? Rachel was praised like this, and her hesitation and anxiety dissipated a lot. A smile appeared on her face, and she followed Adam to sit at the banquet. As soon as she sat down, someone came to make trouble. Ding ding ding. Please pay attention, everyone. The chief best man is going to toast. Thank you. Barry's chief best man knocked the wine glass with a fork, attracting everyone's attention, took out a speech, and began to toast. I remember the scene when Barry came back from his first date with Rachel. The air suddenly became quiet, and everyone stared at him, and the smile on Rachel's face disappeared again. What's wrong? The best man pretended to be pretentious. The band hasn't changed, so I can't use the last toast. The members of the band made a noise and echoed the best man's words. Thank you, thank you. The best man looked at Rachel proudly. I wish you a long life together, and happiness for the rest of your life. And Rachel, what for? Rachel gritted her teeth with a stiff face. Not many women have the courage to come back here tonight, the best man said seriously, not to mention coming here with their butts exposed. That's even less. The band made a noise again in response. Some people laughed and explained to the confused people, although Adam reminded most people that Rachel didn't see it, but Rachel came from the bridesmaids after all, so some people saw it. Adam frowned. He was a little suspicious that the best man or the bridesmaid deliberately made Rachel, who was distracted, lose so much. Otherwise, he couldn't understand why Rachel was fine before, but her dress exposed her flesh as soon as she came out of the bridesmaids. Ding ding ding. Seeing the best man nod proudly with everyone and sit down, Adam also picked up the cutlery knife and knocked on the wine glass. I want to add a few words. Adam, what are you doing? Rachel nervously pulled Adam's arm. Don't worry. Adam patted Rachel's hand and looked around at everyone. What the best man said just now is right. There are not many women as courageous as Rachel. She has the courage to follow her heart and escape from the wedding she doesn't want. In fact, it proves that her choice is right, isn't it? At this point, Adam pulled Rachel's hand and smiled confidently. It is her courage that made today's bride and groom complete. The smiles of the bride and groom were a little stiff. Her greater courage is to choose to forgive the bride and groom and come back here to bless them. Adam teased. The groom is also good. After all, not everyone can find a female companion to go on a honeymoon without gaps as soon as the bride escapes from the wedding. And she is the bride's chief bridesmaid. You can imagine how charming the groom is. The plane tickets for the honeymoon in the United States are all booked in advance. The time is after the wedding banquet. At that time, the bride and groom will fly directly to the honeymoon location, and the bridal chamber will also be arranged there. Time is very tight. Unless there is an affair in advance, there is no time to change people without gaps. Everyone knows this. The smiles on the faces of the bride and groom are almost unbearable. Adam looked at the best man again. The best man knows this best. By the way, is your girlfriend one of the bridesmaids? The best man, who was so proud just now, suddenly turned pale. He looked suspiciously at his girlfriend, who was wearing a red bridesmaid dress, and then looked at the groom. It would be better if he didn't say anything. Once it was exposed, the seeds of suspicion would take root and sprout. Yes, Barry can have an affair with Minty, so why can't he have an affair with his girlfriend? You know, Barry is a dentist with a good income. His girlfriend often envies Minty's good luck and says that she married a rich man. P.S. There is more today. Chapter 167. It's all routine. After the banquet. Thank you. Rachel hugged Adam's arm, walked out with her head held high, and after coming out, she breathed a sigh of gratitude. You're welcome. This is what I should do. Adam smiled and said, it's just that I think you should stay away from them in the future, including Minty. I know. Rachel subconsciously touched her back. Now that she thinks about it, the other bridesmaids did talk to her in the bridal lounge before, so maybe the problem with her dress was not an accident at all. And when she came out, no one reminded her, including Minty. Then the best man came out to ridicule her in various ways, and specifically pointed out her embarrassing incident. She was discovered and reminded by Adam as soon as she came out, and it stands to reason that the best man had no chance to see it. And Minty, when she was invited, Minty didn't mention the various slanders against her by the Barry family, and Minty definitely knew about these things. Did Minty really invite her for sisterhood? At the beginning, Minty cheated on her countless times as the chief bridesmaid of her best friend. Even if she knew that Barry was a scumbag, she was willing to marry Barry for the identity of a dentist's wife. There is definitely something wrong with her character. With all these things, many things cannot stand scrutiny, and the more you think about it, the more problems you have. Friends are more valuable than quantity. Seeing Rachel's expression change and she was a little disappointed, Adam comforted her. Good people like Monica and Phoebe are your good girlfriends. Good character, then you can talk about friendship. I know. Rachel thought of running away from her marriage to find Monica, and Monica complained that she was not invited at all but still enthusiastically accepted her, and her mouth couldn't help but curl up. Where's Monica? There, huh? Adam glanced and found Monica and Richard, but then he exclaimed, "What's wrong?" Rachel was puzzled. It seems something is wrong. Monica seems to be crying, and Richard is comforting her. Adam explained. Then let's go over. Rachel took a step and was about to go over. Wait. Adam held her back. Let's see first. Many times, even if you are friends, you can't just squeeze over and forcefully join, even if it's for the other person's good. Monica might want to bury herself in Richard's arms and cry happily at this moment. 10 minutes later. Oh no, Monica is in big trouble. Seeing that Monica and Richard had been in that position, Rachel also came out of her emotions and began to care about Monica. Let's go over there. Adam had some guesses in his mind and walked over with Rachel. Monica and Richard separated, wiped their tears, and got in the car. Monica leaned on Rachel. Richard's face was also a little bad. He gave a helpless bitter smile to Adam's probing eyes. Back to apartment 520. Richard left. Under Rachel's questioning, Monica suddenly burst into tears, choking and telling the story in a broken voice. It was indeed a marriage problem. Richard's mistake was to invite Monica to the wedding. Monica is also a person in her 20s and 30. In such an occasion, looking at her boyfriend in his 50s, the feeling of being reluctant to get married in her heart reached its limit. The topic of marriage came up every now and then, almost turning from a hint to an explicit statement. But Richard didn't want to get married at all. Even if he understood his girlfriend's feelings, he could only perfunctorily deal with it. In this atmosphere, this day of celebration became like a year. Then the fuse appeared. Monica mentioned children, saying that she didn't like them, but her mother wanted her to have a few children. But when she saw a pair of wedding children playing behind her, she couldn't take her eyes off. In the end, she confessed that she just liked children, but for the time being, and I can get married without getting married, having children. Richard couldn't be perfunctory when he heard about the issue of children. If he didn't want a wedding for the time being, he could still have one in the future, but children? He is now in his 50s. If he has another child, it will take another 18 years to raise the child to adulthood. By then, he will be an old man in his 70s, and he will have to work to earn money to raise a child. How can he have the energy to enjoy life with Monica? That's too miserable. And he already has a pair of grown-up children, so he really doesn't want children. This is a matter of principle. Monica was stunned when she heard it. She loved children the most and wanted her own child, but the person she loved the most did not even plan to have children with her. This was a joke. Unfortunately, looking at Richard's sincere eyes, Monica knew that this was not a cruel joke, but a cruel fact. Monica was not Adam, and she could not continue the relationship without seeing the future. So, they had to break up. Everyone comforted him, but unfortunately it had little effect. In the end, he could only entrust Monica to Rachel and Phoebe and left. This kind of pain can only be healed by time. A week later, Adam checked the MCAT score. As he expected, he played the specialty of the Easterner in his previous life, and his score was not just good, but extremely good. Adam immediately called Juno and learned that she was the same. Although her score was not as good as Adam's, it was also very good. Now she is waiting to graduate from college in 2 weeks. 2 weeks passed in a flash. time is indeed the best medicine for healing. After Monica and Richard broke up, she couldn't stand it anymore. She found all kinds of reasons for Richard to restore their relationship, but was dissuaded by everyone. She even secretly had an affair with Richard, and Richard naturally accepted it, but the problem was there, and it would always be a thorn if it was not solved. The excitement of having an affair could not be covered up. Every time she was in the sage state, Monica could not help asking that question, but she naturally got a negative answer. So, they broke up again. This time, Monica strongly asked everyone to supervise her, and finally got through the most difficult weeks of the breakup, but she still couldn't eat or sleep well, and even alarmed her parents. Her father came to see her. She only asked one question: did Richard cry? For the answer to this question, she was almost crazy, constantly tossing and turning, checking Richard's home phone messages through the phone, and when she heard a woman's message, she almost exploded. After everyone reminded her that it might be Richard's daughter, she recovered instantly and was extremely happy, tossing and turning, sleepless all night. The whole person was haggard. When her father said that Richard was also upset, he believed that Richard must have cried behind his back. Monica felt relieved when she heard this, and fell asleep with a smile on her face. What does it mean that you are not sad when I am sad? You don't love me? You should be even sadder when I am sad. The relationship between men and women is so mysterious, and there are so many ways to break up. At the beginning, why was Adam so sad and upset when he was dumped by his ex-girlfriend Magical Amy? Wasn't it to make Magical Amy satisfied and then let go completely? It's all routine. Chapter 168 Pawnshop Number 8, 520. Everyone, are you busy tomorrow night? Chandler pushed the door open and clapped his hands to ask. You busy? Adam asked curiously. He remembered that Chandler had been busy apologizing to Susie during this period, but there was not much progress. It was a psychological shadow that lasted for more than 20 years. Since Chandler lifted her skirt in public, her nickname became Susie Underpants, and she was ridiculed until she left town at the age of 18. Even to this day, she almost never goes back, because she is afraid of being recognized and being called the nickname that makes her extremely ashamed in public again. The difficulty of Chandler's apology journey can be imagined. There is a party in our company tomorrow night. You can bring people to play. There will be free drinks and performances. Come with us? A bitter smile flashed in Chandler's eyes, but no one noticed it. I'll go. Joey was the first to respond. I'll go too. Phoebe raised her hand high. I love parties the most. I don't want to go. Monica shook her head. Although she was relieved after learning that Richard cried, she was still a little upset because of the after-effects of the breakup. Go ahead, Chandler advised. You are the one who needs a party the most now, don't you? Yes, let's go together. Let's go together. Everyone immediately started to make a noise. Okay. Monica couldn't stand it anymore and had to nod and agree. Adam, Rachel, Ross, are you all going? Chandler confirmed. Of course. Adam and the other two naturally did not refuse. This was the first time Chandler invited them to his company. Everyone was a little curious about what an advertising company was like. In the IT company where Chandler used to work, after more than 10 years, Monica and the others couldn't even remember what Chandler's job was. Did he really forget the long list of professional terms for data processing? Maybe for Joey. But everyone was like this, which only meant that they were not interested at all. Then it's settled. Chandler clapped his hands and said, everyone must be there at 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Okay. Everyone responded in unison. Chandler said a few more words, reminding everyone to go, and then he left immediately because he had something to do. Adam looked at his back and realized that there was something wrong. What's special about the party tomorrow night? Adam was looking forward to it. The next night, everyone dressed up. Chandler said that he needed to organize the party, so he went there in advance. Adam drove Monica, Rachel, Phoebe, Ross and Joey to take a taxi, and went to Chandler's company according to the address given by Chandler. After all, it was a large advertising company, and the party was very high-end. Adam and others showed the invitation and went in. Wow, there are so many delicious foods. Joey's eyes lit up when he saw the buffet full of food, and he walked over without saying a word. Where's Chandler? Rachel looked around and asked curiously. Why don't you see him? Maybe he has something to do. Let's go over and keep an eye on Joey. Adam followed everyone to the self-service table, reminded Joey to be more reserved, and then mixed a cocktail for everyone. "Wow, so beautiful," Phoebe exclaimed as she held the gorgeous cocktail that Adam had mixed. "Adam, when did you learn to mix cocktails?" Rachel asked curiously. "Do I still need to learn this?" Adam smiled and said, "You'll learn it just by watching." A year ago, when he was investigating William Hever, he went to the bar where he worked and saw William's various bartending operations from a distance. With a high IQ, a strong memory, and agile movements, it would be too simple for him to copy William's fancy moves. He could even do more fancy moves easily. With the attitude that this was also a great skill to pick up girls, Adam observed for a few more days, went back and tried it a little, and easily learned the bartending techniques that William Hever had practiced for a long time. "It tastes so good. I've never had such a delicious cocktail before." Phoebe took a sip and exclaimed in surprise, "What's the name of this cocktail?" A cocktail is a mixed drink made by mixing two or more kinds of wine, beverages, juices, and sodas. It has bright colors and unique flavors. It's a bit like a big pot dish. You can add anything to it and stew it all, depending entirely on your personal preference. Many people like to give names to their cocktails. Some of the popular ones are Margarita, Bloody Mary, Manhattan, Passion Coast, etc. These classic cocktails are all prepared with clear recipes and the taste is familiar to the public. However, there are many more cocktails that are randomly prepared by bartenders. Some are good and some are bad, all depending on personal skills. The cocktail that Adam prepared was obviously not tasted by anyone. "Wow," Rachel took a sip and praised, "it's really delicious." "Does it have a name?" "Pawnshop number 8. Adam smiled playfully. "Pawnshop number 8? Monica was speechless and said, "What kind of weird name is this? Is there any explanation?" "Of course." Adam smiled and said, "Legend has it that Lucifer built a pawn shop in the 4th dimension, specifically to lure greedy souls to trade, so as to harvest human souls. The pawn shop is called Pawnshop number 8, because Pawnshop number 8 takes everything, not only human souls, but also emotions, just like this cocktail, which can contain anything." Anyone who has ever traded with Pawnshop number 8, even the most insignificant one, will have their soul marked by darkness, gradually leaning towards darkness, until the entire soul is harvested. But humans who have traded with it all think they have made a profit and can't stop. The mystery has been passed down through the ages and exists in the 4th dimension of space. There is no return to Pawnshop number 8. And it can only be pawned but not redeemed. So I call this cocktail Pawnshop number 8. "Oh my God, this is a glass of devil's wine," Phoebe exclaimed. "No wonder it tastes so good." "Then are you still going to drink it?" Adam smiled. "Of course." Phoebe drank the whole cup in one gulp and handed the cup to Adam. "I have made a deal with you and fell into the devil's trap. I can't stop. So, have another cup." "Me too." Joey was unwilling to be left behind. Just as the superstitious couple Davo, who Carolyn met, said, there are fewer and fewer people who truly believe in this era. Even if there are a lot of people going to church every week, this behavior is more of an inevitable social custom. There are not many young people who truly believe in it. The devil and God, for young people, have no meaning at all, because they cannot perform miracles. Is this story true? Rachel raised the cocktail in front of her eyes, looking at the colorful and attractive colors inside, and murmured, "It must be fake." Ross complained, "Haven't you read The Lord of Mysteries written by Adam? There are too many weird things in it. Maybe this is the content of the next book of The Lord of Mysteries." Haha. Adam raised his glass and smiled without comment. Chapter 169 Cross-Dresser. At the party, Adam's casually mixed number 8 pawnshop cocktail was very popular. After Monica drank it, she drank one cup after another, and became the one who drank the most and the fastest. She needed this feeling. On the stage, from time to time, someone went up to perform a show, singing or dancing. It seemed that they were all employees of an advertising company. Compared with IT companies, Chandler and other new colleagues are more playful. Why haven't we seen Chandler yet? After drinking cocktails for a long time, everyone found that Chandler had not appeared yet. and they couldn't help but feel a little strange. Will he also go on stage to perform a show later? Ross teased. What can he do? Monica doubted. Chandler is definitely a homebody. He has a job that requires sitting every day, and he doesn't like to exercise. He is getting fat every year, although the extent is not large. After many years, he finally can't stand it. So Monica took him running to lose weight. As a result, he couldn't stick to it at all. After running a few times, he was so tired that he shouted that Monica was a devil and could run and run and run and run and run directly to a taxi to escape. Monica pressed his legs to do sit-ups, and he collapsed there pretending to be dead. In the end, it was Monica who tempted Chandler to show him her big baby, and that's all. He was indifferent to activities like singing and dancing. His only strength was that he could tell jokes at will. He couldn't possibly go up there and do a talk show. Could he? Huh? He's not going to do a talk show on stage, is he? Monica blurted out. It's possible. Everyone thought it made sense and expressed their expectations. Only Adam thought it wouldn't be that simple. The reason was obvious. Although you can bring friends to this party, it's only 1 or 2 friends at most. How could Chandler invite 6 friends at once? The advertising company was rich, but it wouldn't be so wasteful. Ladies and gentlemen, let's enjoy the play Hamlet. After a show, the MC took the microphone and announced. Everyone looked over. And then, poof, OMG tilde, holy shit. When the queen in a lady's dress appeared, the cocktails in Adam and others' mouths all sprayed out. Some gasped, some shouted God, some cursed, and they were all stunned. The others were only slightly better than them, but they were also dumbfounded, and then they burst into laughter, because the queen was not played by a woman, but by Chandler. Chandler's face was red, but he still gritted his teeth and acted according to the routine of the play. Not to mention, because of his father's influence on him since he was a child, he was really good at acting. Well, it's very much like that. However, Adam and others were just beginning to be shocked. Chandler's elementary school classmate Susie Moss dressed as a man and played the king's younger brother. She murdered the king, usurped the throne, and forced Queen Chandler to marry her. Now Adam understood everything. He was the one who harmed Chandler. If he guessed correctly, the play that Chandler and his friends rehearsed in elementary school was Hamlet. It was just that Susie played the queen and Chandler played the king's brother. The two are now reenacting the scene of the year. In other words, Adam looked at Chandler, the cross-dressing man on the stage, with pity, staring at him intently, afraid of missing the exciting scene of the play. Pity is pity, but the excitement still needs to be watched. Besides, Chandler dared to go on stage. Obviously he had prepared himself mentally. OMG, why did he do this? Monica and the others were still in shock. Apologized. Adam stared at the stage and explained casually. Ah, so that's how it is. This sacrifice is too great. Chandler's colleagues will definitely give him a nickname in the future. Maybe Queen Chandler. Monica and the others covered their mouths and shouted. The play on the stage continued. Susie, who played the king's brother, came to the trembling Queen Chandler, looked at her sister-in-law with scrutiny, and said dirty words. It's coming, it's coming, Adam warned, holding his breath, staring at Susie's hand. What's coming? Monica and the others hadn't reacted yet, and then they screamed again. OMG, OMG, OMG. The uniform screams resounded throughout the venue. Ha ha ha. Then there was even more wanton laughter. It was the new King Susie who was circling around the Queen Chandler and talking dirty, and then suddenly lifted up the Queen Chandler's skirt. The pink breasts were exposed to everyone. The new King Susie trembled a little when she heard the laughter in the hall. She seemed to have returned to the auditorium 20 years ago. It was also in full view of the public that Chandler lifted up her skirt and exposed herself to everyone. The laughter that resounded throughout the auditorium has always been her nightmare. Some time ago, she met Chandler again and recognized the source of this nightmare at a glance. Then, in order to get revenge, she took the initiative to seduce him. But she didn't expect that when she seduced him in the restaurant bathroom and prepared for revenge, Chandler would never agree. She was at her wit's end and couldn't stand it anymore, so she simply scolded Chandler and left. Just when she thought she would never get revenge in this life, Chandler was ready to come to her house and apologize, saying that he was willing to pay any price for it. She was skeptical at first, but later found out that Chandler was serious. So she had the idea of recreating the nightmare and turning it around. Susie in underwear accompanied her throughout her childhood and teenage years. She wanted Chandler to experience her feelings in front of all his friends and colleagues. In order to perfectly restore the scene of the year, Susie also asked Chandler to keep it secret, because no one thought there would be that. Chandler naturally refused at first, but thinking of his own psychological shadow and what Adam said, he finally agreed, and really didn't tell anyone, including Adam. So, there was today's eye-popping scene. Susie, can you forgive me? At this point in the play, no one cared about the plot. Chandler, the cross-dresser, suppressed the strong sense of shame and asked with a red face, "Forgive?" Susie came back to her senses from the nightmare and the twists and turns in a daze. Looking at Chandler, who was obviously ashamed but forced to be calm, the haze in her heart was suddenly dispelled by a rising moon. This moon was not the part that Chandler exposed after being drunk, but Chandler's sincere face. Susie stepped forward, hugged Chandler directly, and kissed him hard. Pa pa pa. Adam clapped hard. Under his leadership, everyone clapped hard and made a noise. This is a party for an advertising company. This kind of scene, similar to performance art, can easily arouse everyone's understanding and recognition. Encouraged by this, Chandler, dressed in women's clothing, turned over and half-hugged Susie, dressed in men's clothing, turning the tables and exuding masculinity. The cheers and whistles from the audience went up a notch. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 170, Group Formation. At the party, bang bang bang, whoosh whoosh whoosh. As Chandler, dressed as a woman, showed his masculinity and half-hugged Susie in his arms in a French romantic way, the atmosphere of the entire venue reached its peak. Woo woo woo. Then, while Monica and Rachel were just covering their mouths with tears in their eyes, Joey was already moved to tears. "It's too touching. No, I wanted to." As he said that, he opened his hands and was about to rush to the stage. "That's enough." Adam grabbed his collar and stopped him. "Don't make trouble, Joey." Monica stared at him with red eyes. "If you do this again, do you believe I will kick you? You want to find a man for a kissing scene, but you have to find Chandler." "I'm not." Joey wanted to deny it, but seeing that everyone was staring at him, he had to put away his magic and wailed, "Oh, I can't find a better person to act with than Chandler." Recently, he was going to participate in a movie audition. The role in the movie required kissing the male lead, and he didn't know how to handle it. As a professional actor who wants to show the emotions of the role even when he is about double, he desperately wants to find a man to practice. Adam, Ross, and Chandler were all targeted by him, and he wanted to kiss them whenever he had the chance, but every time, he was directly blocked by Adam and the others. "Just kidding, they are not actors. Don't even think about such things." And even if a professional like my Aunt Tangzi who thinks kissing scenes are simple and kissing is easy, that is also for the handsome guy of the opposite sex Gwangu Shanky. You want her to try it with Hu Yi-Fi. Whether she is willing or not is one thing, and she will be warned in a flash in a minute. Joey has never given up. Tonight, he saw Chandler, who was dressed as a woman, kissing Susie, who was dressed as a man, which made him very excited. The feeling described in the movie script came up all of a sudden. Taking advantage of this atmosphere, he wanted to replace Susie, shouting in his heart, "Let go of this, Chandler, let me do it." But he didn't expect that he was seen through and stopped by Adam before he took a few steps. "Chandler is amazing." Rachel covered her mouth and said with emotion, "Yeah, if there's a man willing to do this for me, I'll do anything for him." Phoebe agreed. Woo woo woo. This time, Monica couldn't hold it in anymore, hugged Adam beside her, and cried. Adam smiled helplessly, knowing that this was a routine procedure after a breakup, all kinds of associations. For example, after Ross was dumped by his lesbian ex-wife Carol, he got a can of beer. He could associate it with the fact that although Carol liked this beer the most, she never used cans, and secretly regretted that he should have discovered that Carol was a lesbian. Seeing the women's boots displayed in the street store, He could associate it with the boots that Carol wore when they first had sex. Seeing the peach pits on the ground, he could associate it with the scene of them eating peaches together. Seeing the water on the seat, he could associate it with the night of frost. Looking at the light, he could associate it with the moonlight shining on the bed that night. If he was from the East, he would definitely recite a poem directly. The moonlight shines on the bed, I wonder if it's frost on the ground. I look up at the moon and look down at a pair of boots. Monica obviously also entered this process, because Chandler and Susie were romantic in front of her, and she thought of her breakup with Richard, the love of her life, and she couldn't help but feel sad. This lifelong love is not just a casual statement. In the original time and space, counting all the boyfriends of Monica, Richard is definitely the most unforgettable one for Monica. If it weren't for the child issue, Chandler would have nothing to do with her later. And even if she fell in love with Chandler, they both tried to avoid the topic of Richard, because they all knew that Richard was the love of Monica's life, and they were a mixture of friendship, family affection, and love. Chandler was also jealous, but Monica did not deny her feelings for Richard. It's just that love between men and women is not destined. There is fate first, and then it takes continuous care over time to keep going. This is actually more like friendship and family affection. There are not so many ups and downs, but only warmth and companionship. It is definitely not the unforgettable with Richard, but what makes women remember most is precisely this kind of ups and downs. Unforgettable. Ren Shuzhu said, "If a man is not bad, women will not love him." That's the truth. Of course, this kind of love and a mixture of friendship, family affection and love, which is better or worse, that is completely a matter of opinion. Young people naturally like extremely strong and pure love. In the original time and space, when Chandler and Monica began to fall in love, they were already in their 30s and no longer young. Their relationship was not going well, and they even thought that they would be alone and die alone. At that time, this kind of mixture of friendship, family affection and love was definitely more suitable for them. Chandler obviously understood this truth, so he didn't dwell too much on Richard's affairs. After all, who doesn't have a past? At the beginning, he also devoted himself to love, and Monica saw it with her own eyes, and she never mentioned it. Adam hugged Monica and let her cry on his suit that cost as much as $20,000. Rachel and Phoebe also came forward and hugged Monica. Then it was Ross. Joey hugged Adam, ignoring his glare. This time, he was more disciplined and knew he couldn't mess around at this time. He just hugged everyone. The 6 people hugged Adam and Monica. Chandler and Susie were having a French romance, and when they really needed to breathe, it finally ended. They looked at each other and smiled, and both of them felt warm in their hearts. Then, Chandler saw the 6 people in the group. Although he didn't know what happened, he jumped off the stage and rushed over to join in. Click. Someone had seen this scene and took a picture with a camera, with a happy look on his face. Because emotions are contagious, such a warm scene gave her a lot of inspiration, which can be used in advertising shooting in the future. It is definitely a highlight. Okay. After a long time, Adam saw that Monica had stopped crying, and quickly reminded her, "Let go, you will suffocate if you hug me again." Okay. Ross and Joey responded first. Men have limited tolerance for such hugs. For example, when Ross and Rachel were in love, Rachel liked to sleep in Ross's arms, and Ross, like all men, wanted to sleep alone afterwards. However, in order to be happy in the future, he could only pretend to like this way of sleeping like Rachel. But it was too hot to sleep this way. What to do? Ross even invented a routine for this. He held Rachel first, and when Rachel fell asleep, he held her and rolled her to the side, letting her turn sideways, and then took advantage of the situation to pull out the arm that was pressed by Rachel. Woo, woo, Chandler. After being released, Joey saw Chandler was there, and Susie was not beside him. His eyes suddenly lit up, pretending to be moved, sobbing, and rushing towards Chandler with open arms. As an actor, he is the most professional. P.S. Thanks to Yi Dan and a man's shadow for the reward. There is more today. Chapter 171 A Dangerous World. May. Everything went smoothly. Chandler completed the process of asking for forgiveness by sacrificing himself as a cross-dresser, and got a big-mouthed beauty. Professional actor Joey was discovered by Chandler because his lips were aligned when he pounced on her, and his intention was too obvious. He kicked her away and didn't get the coveted practice opportunity. But he felt very good during the audition. But he still failed as usual. He just started to hang out after graduating from high school, and he didn't have a solid foundation after all without any systematic training. Poor Ross was soft-hearted. One day, he was in a good mood and thought that as a friend, he should support Joey, so he took the initiative to find Joey and kiss Joey with his eyes closed. After the kiss, he found out that the audition was over. Monica stained Adam's $20,000 suit with tears and snot, and played a Geller Cup amateur football game with Ross, fighting head and blood, and finally completely walked out of the aftermath of breaking up with Richard, the love of his life. Adam participated in the graduation ceremony as an outstanding graduate representative of Columbia University, gave a speech, and successfully obtained a double bachelor's degree in biology and psychology. I applied to the U.S. Medical School Application Agency with my MCAT scores, college GPA scores, extracurricular experiences, personal profiles, and degree certificates. The medical school I applied for was naturally Columbia Medical School. When the application was approved, Columbia Medical School received Adam's application and immediately gave an approval reply, and then there were supplementary documents and interviews. They were all acquaintances and had a good impression of each other, so the process was so easy and comfortable. Before June, everything was settled and I received an admission letter from Columbia Medical School. I just had to wait until the summer vacation to officially enroll in Columbia Medical School in the fall. Apartment 520. You've graduated. What are your plans for this summer? Monica asked. I'll go back home first, and then I may go abroad for some fun. Adam smiled. Go abroad? Where? Rachel envied. Europe. Adam said uncertainly. It is also possible that they just traveled around the country. You know, nowhere is safe. Unsafe? What are you talking about? Rachel said puzzledly. Paris is the fashion capital, my favorite city. How can it be unsafe? Haven't you heard of it? Adam said in surprise. Every year, many women who travel to Paris, even if they are in groups, go missing. How do you think they go missing? Missing? Rachel was even more confused. I haven't heard of it. The news has been covered up. Adam sighed. Those women, especially young girls, were targeted as soon as they got off the plane. After checking into the hotel, they were broken into and quietly taken away. Some were almost injected with drugs and forced to sell. Beautiful virgins were auctioned off like goods and fell into the hands of some nobles. They were trained to be slaves in the other's manner. After having enough fun, most of them would be sold again as prostitutes. Hiss. How is it possible? Are you kidding? That's the fashion capital. Everyone took a breath and shouted in disbelief. I wish I was joking. Adam sighed, but this is the truth. So I am hesitant about whether to travel abroad. Even Monica showed up. So is there no hurricane rescue? This world is really full of dangers. OMG. Rachel was the most shocked, and she covered her mouth and shouted, I have always wanted to go there. I advise you not to go. Adam said sincerely, Rachel, you are so beautiful, the chance of being targeted is particularly high. You can't go. Ross shouted, Rachel, you absolutely can't go. It's too scary. Don't the Paris authorities care? Monica asked puzzled. Of course they care. Adam said seriously, if they don't care, then it's not just a few people who are missing, but a large-scale disappearance. And do you think there are no official bosses in this economic chain? Paris is the fashion capital, so many girls from all over the world go there every year to pursue their dreams. It's normal for a few to disappear. Chandler agreed. Yes. Adam nodded. It's better to go in groups. It's not safe to be alone or with sisters, especially for beautiful ones. Although there are 4 of them, including him as a man, Heather and Karen are too eye-catching. Even Juno is a cute little girl that many people like. The chance of being targeted and robbed is too high. Adam doesn't want to take risks. Although Juno is stable enough, it is not the era of information explosion after all. With limited vision, how could she have thought that the fashion capital could be so dangerous? Paris is like this, so don't other famous European tourist cities such as London have such things? You know, It is precisely because of the demand of the decadent and corrupt nobles that there is such a grey industry chain, and the nobles are almost everywhere in major European tourist cities. Adam, you'd better not travel abroad, it's too scary, Monica advised. Just go around in the country. It's still safe in the country, haha. Adam smiled and didn't refute. Monica and the others are different from Adam. No matter where they go, the scenery is unique and the people live and work in peace and contentment. They will never encounter the dark side, but when Adam travels, whether in the United States or abroad, the probability of encountering risks will increase significantly. Is the United States safer than Europe? Adam could only laugh. But risks are risks. Just because there are certain risks, can we not go anywhere? How is that possible? You know, Adam's hometown, Texas, is the most dangerous. He still goes home every year. A few days later, Juno and Karen drove to New York, parked the car downstairs of Adam's apartment, and the four of them changed to Adam's SUV and headed to Texas. In the car, Adam drove, Juno sat in the passenger seat, and Heather and Karen sat in the back seat. Concentrate on driving, be careful not to roll over. Seeing Adam frequently looking at the rearview mirror, Juno smiled and said, "How about I drive?" "No need." Adam retracted his gaze and smiled embarrassedly. It's not that he had never seen Heather and Karen before, but seeing them sitting side by side in the back seat always made Adam feel a little weird, as if it would be more reasonable for them to be in the front seat. Suppressing this unreasonable feeling, Adam told Juno what he had said to Monica and the others. "Is it so messy?" Juno frowned when she heard it. "I heard about it too." Adam smiled and said, "But it's better to believe it than not." "Forget it then." Juno was Juno, steady first, and turned to look at Heather and Karen. "Should we go to popular domestic attractions when the time comes?" "Yeah, that's fine." Karen naturally had no objection, and Heather didn't care. The United States is so big, and they haven't been to many places in total. Chapter 172 The Nightmare of Returning Home. Texas. Galveston. The four of them were all experienced drivers, and they took turns driving. The car almost never stopped, and they soon arrived home. "Heather, come and stay at Karen's house with us," Juno suggested. "Her parents are not at home, and the house is big, so it's very convenient." Heather couldn't help but look at Adam. Adam looked at Juno and saw that she was smiling and had an expression of "I'm doing this for your own good." After thinking for a while, he nodded and said, "Okay, there are several troublemakers at home, and I actually want to live there. Come if you want to." Juno teased, "We will leave the door open for you. It's not like you haven't stayed there before. Have you forgotten?" Adam's mouth twitched. It would be better if he didn't mention it. He felt a little uncomfortable when he mentioned it. He did stay at Karen's house last time, but he almost blacked out the whole time, and he has no impression of it until now. But he has a feeling that one day, he will remember it, because for ordinary people, there is a symptom of permanent amnesia. But for Adam, as his IQ continues to improve, his nerves, memory and other aspects are also repaired and improved. The last time his IQ was raised to genius, not only the memories before this life traveled through time, but also all the information in the previous life in 2020 were clearly recalled, which is a clear proof. God knows what earth-shaking changes will happen when the IQ is raised to super genius. "Okay, see you tonight." Adam asked Juno to park the car in front of his house, put him down, took out various gifts from the trunk, waved to indicate that they could leave, and carried large and small bags and rang the doorbell. "Charlie, open the door." The mother's call came from the house. With a creak, a little thing poked its head out from behind the door, with a vigilant look on its little face. Who else could it be but Charlie? "Wow, Adam!" Charlie screamed in surprise when she saw Adam, and rushed directly to Adam. Adam squatted down and opened his hands with relief, but then his face turned black. 6-year-old Charlie nimbly avoided Adam's arm, walked around Adam, hugged the pile of gifts, and kept saying, "Mine, mine, all mine, thank you Adam." "Just saying thank you. You think all these gifts are yours?" Adam sneered with a dark face. "Do you think you are Qin Shi Huang?" Big brother Charlie's eyes turned when she heard it, put down the gifts, and jumped towards Adam, who quickly bent down to catch her. He hugged Adam's neck with his short hands, kissed Adam, and said sweetly, I missed you so much. I miss you too. Adam kissed his little sister and said jokingly, but why do I feel that you miss my gifts more? Yes, I miss you. Charlie didn't dare to look at Adam, but just squeezed his head hard against Adam and said coquettishly, Adam is back. Mom heard the noise and came out holding the fifth child, Toby, very happy. Where are Dad and the others? Adam carried things into the house, and saw that everyone else was not there, so he couldn't help but ask curiously. There are bugs that need him to kill urgently, Mom complained. Daddy went to college and went completely crazy. He said he would play with his classmates for a few days before coming back. As for Gabby, do I need to tell you? Haha. Adam laughed. Gabby, the third child, is now 16 years old. He has been the king of mischief since he was a child, and now he is getting crazier and crazier. Not to mention that it's summer vacation now. Staying at home. Honestly, that's a fantasy. Did you come back by yourself? Mom smiled meaningfully. Or did you come back with Juno and Karen? Of course I came back with them, Adam said casually. Then why don't you come in and sit for a while? Mom said angrily. I like Juno very much. Invite her to dinner tonight and I'll cook a big meal. No need. Adam smiled bitterly. Juno and I are really just good friends, not what you think. What did I imagine? Mom rolled her eyes at Adam. Can't I invite your good friend over for a big dinner? Besides, what's wrong with me thinking about it? You've graduated from college, and not only can I think about it, you have to start thinking about it too. I'm going to medical school in the fall, Adam complained. After 4 years of medical school, there are still 7 years of residency. I'm so busy that I don't have the time to think about so much. Is there an inevitable conflict between being busy with your career and having a relationship? Mom retorted. I know you never lack love partners, but you're older, and you should consider having a serious relationship. It's not good to have so much fun as before. I know, Adam said perfunctorily. You know nothing, Mom interrupted. Juno is such a good girl. You and I are childhood sweethearts. We always go out together. You are so compatible. If you really knew, you should have taken action long ago. Why do I have to keep talking to you? Don't. Adam suddenly had a headache. He was forced to marry as soon as he entered the house. It reminded him of the nightmares he had during the New Year in his previous life. He had thought about not going home for the New Year many times. He didn't expect that he had endured it for many years in his previous life. Now he traveled through time and space and encountered the same situation in a foreign country like the United States. Oh my God, he is only 21 years old, still a child. Mom's love for Juno is undisguised. She originally liked Karen as well, but over the past few years, she had discovered that there was something wrong with Karen, but she couldn't tell what was wrong. In short, it seemed that she didn't have a connection with her son. And Juno, she is beautiful, speaks well, and has a close relationship with her son. The more she looks at her, the more she likes her. In the past, she was worried that Adam would mess around and cause someone to die, and be trapped in such a small town for the rest of his life. Now, Adam has graduated from college and is worth tens of millions. His wealth is still growing rapidly. Even if he doesn't become a doctor, he can become a writer without any worries. But she found that Adam was still messing around and didn't have the slightest intention of being serious, which made her a little worried. Because once you become a playboy, it will be difficult to manage a relationship seriously in the future. And not having a serious relationship is actually very sad. How many playboys are just glamorous on the surface, but in fact their later years are miserable. She and Bob are very satisfied with their marriage, and they also hope that their son can manage his own relationship seriously and find his other half. Adam naturally understands his mother's thoughts, but he can't say, "Hey, Mom, don't think about Juno. I'm a real womanizer and don't like your son. I have a girlfriend." Adam couldn't stand his mother's scorching eyes full of fighting spirit, and gritted his teeth and prepared to temporarily promote Heather from more than friends, less than lovers to the status of lovers. In all, Heather is indeed his longest-lasting and most stable female friend. If Adam had not planned earlier and not dated when he was young, even in name, the two would have made their relationship public long ago. Moreover, after more than 2 years of living together, Adam found that Heather and Rachel were different and conservative. Take William Heather's pursuit of her as an example. If it were Rachel, She would definitely not accept it but would not firmly refuse it. Even if her boyfriend was not happy, the two would definitely become good friends. Once there was a conflict with her boyfriend, Rachel would actively or passively seek comfort, and a little spark would probably start to hit the earth. Heather, on the other hand, took the initiative to find Adam, hoping that he would come forward and force William Hever to retreat. You know, William Hever has Tom Cruise's face and a playboy temperament. He is too tempting to women. Who is it? When my mother heard it, her eyes brightened. P.S. Thanks to the book friend 20181109191916658 for the reward. Chapter 173 Dr. Cooper. Duncan's house. As soon as Adam came back, he was questioned by his mother. He had no choice but to bring up Heather. Her name is Heather, a student at the City University of New York. Then what? Mom asked suspiciously. You won't just use a girl you've been dating to perfunctorily deal with me, right? No, Adam said speechlessly. She came here to play during this holiday, and now she's with Juno, Karen and the others. What? Mom's voice rose several decibels. Your girlfriend has come here. Why don't you bring her home to show us? Don't get excited, Adam said with a headache. She's just a girlfriend, not a wife. Are you going to let her live in my house? It's not a good influence. People will gossip at this point. He inexplicably thought of Sheldon. In the original time and space, after Sheldon had been dating Amy for several years, Amy wanted to spend a romantic Valentine's Day with Sheldon and invited him out to play. Sheldon said that he had to stay in a hotel when he went out to play. They had only been dating for a few years, and living together so soon would be gossiped about and rejected. Now Adam has encountered the same problem. TSK. They are indeed brothers in distress. By the way, Sheldon should also be at home. I will go to see him with Juno later. Bad influence? Mom looked at Adam with a squint. Do you think you have a good image in this regard? Maybe not before, but I definitely have it now, Adam said confidently. Successful people are great and glorious, no matter what aspect. Mom was speechless. She was speechless about Adam's mysterious confidence, because it was really the truth. It is said that in the past, some people talked about Adam's gossip and scandals in front of her, with a hint of mockery and contempt. But since Adam became a Columbia student and a multimillionaire writer, when people talk about Adam again, he is really a good child of the Duncan family. Even occasionally mentioning the gossip and scandals in the past has become a manifestation of Adam's charm. The reason why there are so many is that the girls are too proactive, and Adam is kind and can't bear to refuse them. Invite her and Juno to dinner in the evening. It doesn't mean that she must live at home. What's wrong with that? Okay. Adam had no reason to refuse, so he could only agree. After packing up his things and teasing his younger sister Charlie for a while, Adam went out to find Juno and the others. As for the fifth child Toby, who has no sense of existence, don't be ridiculous. Boys are all naughty and not cute when they are young. As the eldest brother, it's good enough that he doesn't beat them up. What sense of existence does he need? Karen's house. Heather was a little confused when she heard that she was going to visit Adam's house as his girlfriend. She and Adam have been together for more than 2 years. She was deeply influenced by Adam and Juno. With the previous experience, she still understands Adam's view of love of more than friends, but less than lovers. Moreover, they are still young, very happy and extremely happy together. Why think so much? If you have the time, what else can't you do? But when she found that she had suddenly upgraded, after the confusion, she was still infinitely happy in her heart. If she were from the East, a few words would have flashed through her mind: grinding, success, dripping water wears away a stone. Juno looked at Adam with a smile. Her eyes seemed to say, "Are you serious?" "No way." Adam gave a helpless look. "Let's go see Sheldon first." Adam was not used to this atmosphere, so he changed the subject and said, he should be back from Germany. Okay. Juno nodded. The 3 girls had to pack up, so Adam could only wait. This wait lasted for an hour. Cooper's house. Ding dong. Adam rang the doorbell. "It's you." The one who opened the door was not Mary Cooper, but a tall and beautiful girl of 15 or 16 years old. "Hi, Missy, you are getting more and more beautiful." Adam smiled and greeted. This was not a flattery, as Sheldon's twin sister, Missy was very beautiful when she was a child. Now that she has grown into a girl, she has not only not grown ugly, but has become more beautiful, with a slender and well-proportioned figure, and there is still room for growth. It's no wonder that in the original time and space, she attracted many people from the California Institute of Technology as soon as she appeared, and Leonard and the other two were fascinated. Even Sheldon, who has always been indifferent to this and looked down on his sister, said that his sister does have the beauty and figure that Westerners like most. "You said it's too late." Missy glanced at Heather and teased with a smile. Adam's mouth twitched. "What's too late? Why can't he understand this?" "Come in." Missy stepped aside and invited the four people in, saying, "My mother went to church, George and Veronica are at work, and I will go to help later." "Where's Sheldon?" Adam smiled. Adam was still clear about what happened in the Cooper family over the years. First of all, George and Veronica got married early, but it's a pity that Sheldon's father did not have the opportunity to collect the gambling money that George lost when he bet that he would never get married early, because Sheldon's father died of a heart attack last year. The Cooper family, which lost its pillar, was once very difficult. After all, Sheldon's mother only works in the church and has limited income. Missy is still in high school, and Sheldon graduated from college and went to Heidelberg College in Germany as a visiting scholar last year. They all need money. At this time, George, as the eldest brother, stood up and worked hard to support the family. "Some time ago, I heard that George was particularly talented in tires and is now raising funds to open his own store and become a boss." "You are looking for Sheldon?" "A bad choice." Missy shook her head and looked at Adam with pity, as if Adam had other reasons to come here besides looking for Sheldon. "He's in the garage, you should remember it." "Okay." Adam nodded, and Juno brought Heather and Karen to the Cooper's garage. Click, click, click. Just as they approached, a familiar sound came into everyone's ears. Adam and Juno looked at each other and smiled. When they walked in, they saw a delicate toy train on a circular track model in the garage, moving rhythmically. Next to him, a handsome boy of about 15 or 16, wearing a driver's uniform and a driver's hat, holding a controller, was happily controlling the model train to go through the mountain and through the cave. If it wasn't Sheldon, who else could it be? "Hi, Sheldon." "Hi, Adam." "Hi, Juno." The young Sheldon looked up, pursed his lips and greeted, and then turned his attention to the model train. Adam and Juno were used to it, and introduced Heather. "Sheldon, this is me, my girlfriend Heather." "Heather, this is my good friend Sheldon Cooper." "It's Dr. Sheldon Cooper," Sheldon interrupted. "Heather." Chapter 174. Green, Cooper's house. Looking at a child who was 5 or 6 years younger than her, who asked her to call him doctor in a serious manner, Heather still felt uncomfortable even though she had heard Adam and others talk about Sheldon in the past 2 years. "I told you a long time ago." Missy's figure floated by outside. "It would be troublesome to find Sheldon, because Sheldon is a troublemaker." This was not said by Missy, but by their mother Mary, and was recognized by Sheldon himself. Sheldon was not ashamed, but proud. In the original time and space, he said very happily and proudly, "I was a troublemaker when I was a child." "Sheldon, Heather is my girlfriend," Adam said speechlessly. "Can't she call you by your name?" "I prefer others to call me Dr. Cooper," Sheldon said arrogantly. "Are you sure, Dr. Cooper?" Adam said with a smile. "Of course," Sheldon said affirmatively. At this moment, he had just returned from being an exchange scholar at Heidelberg College in Germany and successfully obtained his first doctorate in his life. As mentioned before, a doctorate is a bit like the knighthood of ancient nobles, and is a symbol of status. And it is not a bloodline inheritance, but a symbol of wisdom and knowledge, which can reflect a person's uniqueness far more than the knighthood of nobles. Sheldon, who has always claimed that there are few people on earth who can really communicate with him, naturally attaches great importance to this title that distinguishes him from a large number of ordinary people. In other words, a doctorate is the highest degree of education. Otherwise Sheldon will definitely continue to strive for higher education, and then distinguish more people, such as doctors of geology, doctors of literature, and so on, who also have doctoral degrees from himself. However, although there is no way to continue to improve above a doctorate, A doctorate is obviously not enough for Sheldon, and he soon plans to continue his second doctorate, which is also the doctorate in physics that he wants to study the most. Is Peggy okay? Adam grinned and said, "Oh, should I call her Dr. Adler?" Sheldon immediately bulged his eyes and stared at Adam. Adam smiled back. The two looked at each other for a long time. Sheldon looked away and looked at Heather. "You can call me Sheldon." "That's right," Adam smiled and said. "We are all good friends. Of course we should call each other by our names." Sheldon was angry and turned his head away, not wanting to pay attention to Adam. Peggy is his sore spot, because since they met, Peggy has always been better than him, even his most proud doctorate. Peggy, who is the same age as him but 1 month younger than him, got it last year. Adam used Peggy to attack Sheldon, and he hit it right every time. In fact, it was not the first time that he used Peggy to tease Sheldon. When the two looked at each other just now, he really wanted to see Sheldon fight back, and then he could continue to tease Sheldon until Sheldon's mouth twitched and his eyelids spasmed, and he was on the verge of crying. "The baby is suffering. The baby is about to cry. Hurry up and comfort the baby." Jushiran said, "Having children is for fun. Sheldon is a giant baby, and it is so annoying that it is a waste not to tease him. It's like traveling back to the Red Mansion and not confronting Bao Baoyu to make him use his ultimate move to smash the jade. Then it would be a waste of time." "Oh, don't blame him for being evil. This is full of fond memories." "Sheldon, are you angry?" Adam winked at Heather, signaling her to watch his performance. "Look what this is." He took out a gift box from behind. The latest model train. Sheldon glanced at it and immediately rushed over, holding the gift box, and exclaimed in surprise, "It's so cool. This is what Heather bought for you." Adam reminded. "Thank you," Sheldon thanked happily, staring at the gift box, and kept playing with it. "Isn't it worth a hug?" Adam continued to tease him. Sheldon was a little entangled and shook his head, saying, "That hug is too cheap." Then he pointed his thumb and index finger at Heather, and smiled cutely with a squeak in his mouth. "Thanks, Heather." "You're welcome." Heather was also smiled cutely by Sheldon. "This is totally a tall and thin child." By the way, Sheldon's family is all tall. His father is tall and fat. His mother is also above the average height of American women. His brother is very tall. His sister Missy is also unusually tall. And he himself, according to Penny, is a big praying mantis, and in the mouth of his future wife Amy, he becomes a sexy praying mantis. Honestly, how is Peggy doing recently? After making Sheldon cry and laugh, Adam contentedly turned the topic back to Peggy. "Well," Sheldon pouted, "just like that, often asking some boring questions." "What boring questions?" Juno asked curiously. She was still very interested in the ideas of super geniuses like Sheldon and Peggy. "After graduating last year, no matter how I tightened my abdomen, my vagina still drooped, and I became a real hairy child," Sheldon said seriously. Then, Peggy began to often ask me if I was interested in the opposite sex. "Please, is there any essential difference between female gorillas and male gorillas? If you have the time, wouldn't it be better to play on the train for a while?" Adam's mouth twitched, and he shouted in his heart, "Amy Phil Fowler, you seem to be cheating, can't you see it?" Juno reminded, "Peggy has feelings for you." "Of course," Sheldon pouted, "I know very well about the things between men and women. They are all taught in physiology class. It's just a dirty and unnecessary human physiological activity. I'm disappointed with Peggy. She is so interested in this kind of thing, but it's good this way. Weaklings like her will definitely be eliminated." "Is he serious?" Heather leaned close to Adam's ear. "Or is this Peggy not beautiful?" "Of course I'm serious." Sheldon's ears were particularly sensitive, and he shouted, "And Peggy is very beautiful according to Western aesthetics, but she should focus more on science instead of asking me these boring questions all day long." "Poor child." Heather opened her mouth and sighed after a long time. "Isn't his mother worried?" "It's okay." Adam smiled. "He has a brother who has been married for a long time. Besides, Sheldon might split into two Sheldons while eating in the future, and there is no need to fall in love with the opposite sex. Get married and have children." Sheldon bulged his eyes and glared at Adam again. "Haha." Adam smiled. "Come over for dinner tonight." At this time, Missy floated over again and invited with a smile. "Tomorrow night, Adam's heart moved, and he didn't refuse. The family is ready tonight. Chapter 175 Staying Again. Duncan's house. Nightfall. Welcome, welcome. You must be Heather. Mom greeted warmly. Yes, Mrs. Duncan. Heather was a little nervous. Oh, just call me Amy. Mom looked at Heather, looking at her exaggerated good figure, and turned back to give Adam an expression that said, "You boy likes this type. No wonder you didn't look for Juno." Heather, you have beautiful eyes. Thank you. Heather smiled shyly. Oh, Juno hi, Amy. Mom and Juno hugged directly. Dad was also urged back by Mom and stood aside, smiling kindly. Little sister Charlie looked up, her little hand on her mouth, and looked at Heather curiously. You must be Charlie. Heather looked at the delicate little Charlie and leaned over to talk to her. Charlie rolled her eyes and opened her arms for a hug. After Heather was stunned, she naturally reached out and hugged Charlie happily. Big sister, you are so beautiful. Charlie hugged Heather's neck, put her mouth close to Heather's ear, and whispered, you are Adam's girlfriend, right? Yes, Charlie is also very beautiful. Heather hugged Charlie adoringly, and her body language began to get closer to Charlie. Then can you take care of him? Charlie smiled. Huh? Heather was surprised. What's wrong with him? I want more beautiful gifts, but he always forgets. Charlie said cunningly, big sister, you can definitely help me, right? Of course. Heather couldn't help laughing. The atmosphere of the dinner was still very good. At least Heather and Juno laughed happily, because Mom kept revealing Adam's childhood stories. Well, actually, that belonged to the cute predecessor PJ, but now Adam can only take the blame. Adam, who was a little embarrassed, could only laugh along, and from time to time he squinted at his father Bob, who was also laughing. They laughed. So why did you laugh with them? If you are not used to throwing children, these embarrassing things will never happen. Unfortunately, Dad Bob only looked at Adam apologetically. He was still laughing when he should laugh, and he laughed louder and happier than anyone else. Adam couldn't help feeling depressed. After dinner, Mom Amy talked to Heather and Juno for a long time, and then reluctantly let them go, and told Adam to escort them. In the United States, everyone knows the importance of safety, because it is really unsafe. Karen's house. Your mother is so nice. Heather envied. Your father is also very kind, and your little sister Charlie is so cute. Don't be envious. Juno teased. You also have a chance to join. Adam glared at Juno. At this stage, the temporary couple status is already the limit for him. God knows what will happen after 4 years of medical school plus 7 years of residency. Adam didn't want Heather to think too much. Juno returned a contemptuous look and mocked. Will you come tonight? No. Adam understood what she meant and said very toughly. Then you should go back now. Juno saw through Adam's toughness at a glance. Ahem. Adam pulled Heather into the house and said as he walked, I'll be back in a minute. I have something to discuss with Heather now. Juno smiled and said no more. Half an hour later. Knock. When Adam and Heather were talking about business, the door was knocked and Juno's teasing voice came from outside. Have you finished the discussion? We are going to close the door and go to bed. Almost. Give me another half an hour, Adam said unhappily. Knock, knock, knock. Juno kept knocking on the door. I was wrong. Okay, Adam shouted helplessly. Haha. Outside the door, Juno chuckled and left. This is really a traditional skill of women, Adam complained and continued to talk business with Heather. In the original time and space, Sheldon wanted to use positive motivation to discipline Penny. When Penny did something he thought was worth rewarding, he would feed Penny a chocolate. The effect was very good. But Leonard saw through it and resolutely stopped Sheldon's evil experiment of further training his girlfriend. Then, Penny used women's traditional skills to teach Sheldon a lesson. The training effect of positive motivation is far inferior to women's traditional skills. Juno used a variation of this method, leaving Adam completely helpless. Of course, no method is invincible. This traditional skill will only be dumbfounded when it encounters Sheldon, because Sheldon doesn't buy it at all. In the original time and space, Amy Phil Fowler, who was in urgent need of a man, met Sheldon, who was really abstinent and had a child's heart. She suffered a lot and worked hard for 5 or 6 years before she finally started to learn from the scriptures. However, this was only the first difficulty of learning from the scriptures. And there were still 80 difficulties behind. Because there was no good reason, Sheldon, who had tasted meat and was interested in it, still refused to waste time and energy on such things. Leonard's father didn't encounter Beverly's tragedy for 7 or 8 years. Do you think it's a joke? Fortunately, Amy is a professional eagle. Oh, as a neurobiologist, she often trains monkeys. If she lets monkeys smoke, they will smoke. In addition, Amy never had friends when she was a child. She was used to being alone. She had enough patience to train Sheldon. Sheldon often treated other people as monkeys, but he never thought that one day, he was trained like a monkey without knowing it. From this perspective, Amy is really Sheldon's destiny. Even if Peggy is more compatible with Sheldon in terms of IQ, more beautiful, and met Sheldon 20 years earlier, Peggy may not be Amy's opponent in real competition. Because Peggy and Sheldon are both arrogant people, but Peggy always suppresses Sheldon, and Peggy also enjoys this suppression and has no intention of letting him go. Thinking about it this way, Peggy is afraid that she can't cheat on Amy. In the original time and space, because of Peggy's self-degradation, Sheldon did not meet Peggy when she grew up, but there were women who wanted to pick the peaches that Amy had cultivated with great difficulty. There was a female graduate student who admired Sheldon very much. Because she restricted Sheldon's living habits too much, she hoped that Sheldon would spend all his time on scientific research, and she took care of everything in life. Although Sheldon's research finally made a major breakthrough, the female graduate student who took care of Sheldon's life was still driven away by Sheldon crying. Later, she got a doctorate degree, but she still admired Sheldon. Even if she knew that Amy was Sheldon's girlfriend, she still took the initiative and kissed Sheldon. Then, when Amy saw her, she was very grateful to her, because without her initiative, the love agreement formulated by Sheldon would not be triggered, prompting Sheldon to take a taxi and take a plane to find Amy to propose marriage as soon as possible. There are only 2 women who put great pressure on Amy. One is Marie Curie, who was made into a computer screensaver by Sheldon like Amy, but Amy is more relieved because Marie Curie is dead. The second one is Beverly. This is purely Amy's luck, because Beverly kissed Sheldon hard after getting drunk, but Sheldon didn't respond, so he gave up on his own initiative. Otherwise, given the compatibility between Beverly and Sheldon, if Sheldon really wanted to be Leonard's stepfather, Amy would not be good enough. Adam was thinking about these messy things in his mind, and after half an hour, he didn't stop and leave. Juno didn't come over again, so he finally stayed overnight. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.